Okay, guys. So we were last time talking about sysprep, and then we were talking about standalone server, member server, domain controller, client machine, and also we created server 1 and server 2. Then we installed ActiveDirectory, and we talked about the concept of forest, tree, and tree is a DNS namespace. Forest is the highest boundary there. Outside of this, there is no network for the Microsoft that we created. So you all have your own forest. You guys are rich. Okay, so forest, and then tree is DNS namespace. So you need to give some name to your network, and that is tree, the DNS namespace. And that name is attached to all the resources, like your username, your server, your printer. They all have to end with that name. So that's why tree. When you create a tree, it's like a family tree, right? So it is just like a DNS namespace or just a name to your network. Then we talked about site, which is a physical campus. So we have for NetPlus, we have how many sites? We have just one site because there's one physical campus, just one physical or one building here, right? So, and then there is a domain. That's the administrative unit where we work day to day. We create users and computers, join computers to domain or network, add printers there, create organizational units or OUs, which we'll be working on, create groups of users, and everything in Active Directory is called objects. So you create 200 users. This means you've created 200 objects. You attach 200 computers to domain. You've added 200 more objects there. So you create 20 groups. It's 20 objects. So not everything is 200 as well. So then domain controller. So domain controller is that machine that hosts the software called Active Directory, and that Active Directory is the central software that controls the whole environment, right? So Active Directory would be Justin Trudeau, and its the domain controller would be the
Not Capitol Hill.
what was
Parliament
it?
Hill.
Parliament Hill. I was about to say that, and I thought I was doing something wrong here. So Parliament Hill, exactly. So I was corrected there. I was just saying Capitol Hill. Many other courses, and students were like, "Oh, okay. Why don't we, let's not correct him. Keep on going. We get the idea." So this is the first time where I was told, "Hey, come back from US, Parliament Hill." So Active Directory could be Justin Trudeau, and Parliament Hill would be the domain controller there. So and you're running through Active Directory the whole domain or the network of Microsoft. So that's a physical component, or this is an actual physical or virtual machine, which is called domain controller. So then organizational units. So now we have installed Active Directory. So I'm going to show you. These are just yellow folders. Suppose you have sales department. You can create like sales OU, or you can create like marketing department, marketing OU. So OU are just organizational units or yellow folders where you can just put the users and computers of other departments. So then there are groups, security groups, and they are used for giving access to all its members. So group is you have members inside the group. So when you add a group to a printer, this means all the members get access to the printer. So we're going to do all the labs, but I'm just repeating or briefly just saying one-liners for all the theory that we covered in last time. Okay, so users are users, computers are computers, and now the difference between standalone server and member server and domain controller and client computer. So anyone knows what's the difference? What is standalone server? What is member server? What is domain controller? Standalone, yeah. Yeah. Oh, it's not associated with the domain. Exactly. You're right. And member server, members of the domain. Good. And domain controller. So it's a central authority from where the authentication, authorization, and accounting. Exactly. That's good. So Active Directory offers AAA, which is
Authentication, authorization. Auditing.
Accounting.
Oh, okay.
Auditing or accounting, yeah. But yeah, so Active Directory has AAA, which is accountability. Yeah. So authentication, you have to say it, man. Yeah, just clear your throat, and we're waiting. 3, 2, 1. Okay, yeah, your turn. Because you're too quiet, man. So, so yeah, authorization, auditing, or accounting, whichever. So both are the same, right? So AAA is being offered by Active Directory, which means centrally you're controlling the whole domain, right? So and then there is a global catalog. Global catalog's job is so what is catalog? List of or inventory of something, right? So global catalog is that within the whole network of Microsoft, which is called domain, within the whole domain, and there could be many domains in the forest. So among those domains, you can search something, right? So suppose you're in Toronto branch and you want to search a printer in New York branch. So your request for the printer search of printer will go to global catalog, right? And it will search that printer for you, and then you can access that printer. So global catalog, you have to just learn this forest wide search and user login. These are the two things that it provides there, right? So we're repeating those concepts pretty much in every class. I'll be repeating that until you are a bit more comfortable with this. Because at the start, don't expect everything to be crystal clear. But the more hard work, the more effort you put there, then you will reap the rewards. You will try to understand the inner workings of Microsoft Network. So RODC is read-only domain controller. So read and write domain controller, or the domain controller that we already have, the virtual machine that we already have, that has all the usernames and passwords of all the users in that. So we have a read and write domain controller that we installed in last class, but this is a read-only domain controller. This means that it does not store any of the passwords, password hashes, or passwords of users locally. So RODC does not store that. It's for security that you can put read-only domain controller. Otherwise, normally we use read and write domain controller because we need to make changes inside the domain controller. If you want to make changes, it has to be read and write. And syswall.
So passwords are read-only for authentication purpose on the server?
So RODC does not have any passwords of any user. So it does not authenticate.
Oh, it does not authenticate.
Yeah. It just forwards to the nearest domain controller in the nearest branch, wherever that is.
Okay.
So, but we're gonna do a full lab on RODC in 741, hopefully. Yeah. So since you're in 741 and 740, so we'll be doing both sides of labs, and you'll be repeating everything at home as well.
And it's good.
Yes, that's very good.
Ask the question.
Yeah. So when he's done with RODC, then I'll tell you. Hey, okay, today ask him question. So. All right, so syswall is all about that group policies. An example of group policy is that suppose your boss says, hey, can you just block USB for all the New York users? So when you create that group policy, you enable that, click that, okay, block USB. Then for who? Suppose you've created an organizational unit for New York users OU, and you attach the group policy. As soon as you attach the group policy to the OU, all the members of that organizational unit gets that policy, which means they cannot connect USB, or when they connect, it's not detecting. So syswall help the group policy get implemented across the network on different users and computers. So syswall helps that group policy to be implemented. So we're going to go step by step. I hope you're repeating it at home as well. If you're not repeating, then it's kind of waste of time here. And you cannot reach that goal of, oh, in 8 to 10 months I need to be earning 35 per hour, 45 per hour. So you really need to work hard for that. There is no shortcut to anything. You have to go through all the courses, and you have to really give your 200%. If you're doing that, then yes, in shorter amount of time you can go for a much better job sooner, right? So repeat those concepts. You have to give that time at home, and repeat the labs and understand the lecture, understand the concept. Try to listen to other sources as well, or read the books as well. But repetition is the goal. Okay, so we talked about these concepts, and let's just go towards our machines. How many machines that we created there? and are they started or not. So I'm just gonna go there, and in MCSA, so 740, we have the two clones already created. So we have server 1 here, and clicking resume, and server 2 power on. So resume or power on, whichever. I hope everyone has created that server 1 and server 2. Oh, actually created. I hope everyone has powered it on. Yay. Okay, so here, yeah. Are you logged in with correct account, 740 account? Or are you logged in with student account? Okay, so it is. So click here and student access. So this is a free account. So we're not supposed to log into that. So right click here and sign out from here. Yeah, put it here. Okay, and sign out top one. Yeah, good. Then so every day, every time when you come here, look for your account and log out from student account. Right. So this is 740, and the password was. Understand? What was the password? Oh.
ABC.
No, for the account itself. Yeah, I think it was understand. Okay, that's good. So you're logged in, right? You log into the 740 account? Yes, you are. So in server 1, let's click that and click on the three buttons here. Send control or delete. Now you can put the password, which is the past password. So resume, Asif. Resume. Search for the word resume here. Yeah, it's a small ABC capital position market.
Resume this version.
Yeah. And you need to log in from. So I'll be creating an account here, there.
Okay.
And so right now it is.
Should I create a new virtual machine or something? Or you can clone something from you.
So you need to create a template machine, and then you have to follow, then create the, exactly that's what we're about to do next Sunday, coming Sunday.
Okay, okay.
So that's the same thing you need to do here. So yeah, stay here while you're logged in. So you're logging in. Yeah, you're already logged in here, so you're okay. So let's stay on server 1. Exactly. And you're on server 1, you're on server 1. Okay, that's good. So, well, in the break, then I will have to clear everything and give you access to the that's it. To the videos, so you could follow up. But yeah, template machine is the same thing. 741 we did. So it's okay, guys. So if you're logged into server 1 here, and the class password is small ABC capital ABC 123. So what we did last time, we created the installed ActiveDirectory. We still have to go for DNS DHCP, copy domain account, 390 users with PowerShell, and I'll just copy that diagram here because we still need to meet those objectives. So here I'll just copy this diagram, and okay, so server 1, we have given the static IP there on both server 1 and server 2, and so we have installed ActiveDirectory, and then we need to go to DNS DHCP. We need to install that. We need to understand that as well, and then we need to copy that domain admin account to another account called netadmin, and 390 users we're going to be creating with PowerShell. But in server 1 last time we installed ActiveDirectory. So what's the big deal with that? So ActiveDirectory is offering you central security and central inventory, central administration, and as we discussed already, authentication, authorization, accounting / auditing. So right now we have two machines here because we installed ActiveDirectory on this server 1 and we did not install ActiveDirectory on this server 2. So server 1 is a domain controller right now because it has domain ActiveDirectory installed in it, and server 2 is what? Right now, currently, among the other three, what do you call server 2 right now?
Member server?
Hmm? Server 2 is neither client machine nor member server. So client machine is Windows 7, Windows 8, Windows 10. The client operating system should be there. It is a server operating system which is Windows 2016 right now. That's a server operating system. So server offers all the services to thousands of clients.
The name itself says not joined attached to the center authentication server called domain controller, so it should be a standalone.
Yes, exactly. Bullseye. So definitely. So you put that arrow and
If it's not into that must be.
exactly. Well,
I didn't say that.
okay, now I get why. How did you get that? So if it's not either of the two, it has to be. Okay, that is also bullshit. But still, that's the only choice left now. But why is it not member server?
It is not joined any domain.
Oh, it's,
We haven't joined it to ActiveDirectory. We haven't joined it to domain yet. So that's why it cannot be called member server right now. But today we're gonna make it a member server. Until then, it is a standalone server because it's not joined to anyone now, right? It's not joined to any central authority. It's an independent machine, right? So that's why it will become a member server because that's what we need it to be. But right now, currently, it is just a standalone server.
yeah, he better be with us.
Yes, exactly. Are you with us or against us? So that's the only choice US always gives. Okay, so here, let's go ahead and we install Active Directory. That's it. But let's explore the Active Directory as well. That how active is the directory? No, that's no sentence. There's no statement. How active is directory? Active Directory is not like it is active, like burning fats like that. So just Active Directory is the name of the software that centrally controls the whole network, right? So let's go to Active Directory here, and once we are inside our server 1, so you can see here our best friend is server manager here. So server manager has all those links and tools that can help us not only control this server but the whole environment. We can add other servers to manage. We can create a server group here, and we can even connect to the cloud services later. So right now what we need to do, if you see that server manager here, let's go to the tools here. In the tools, we need a proof that we installed Active Directory here. What's the proof of that? That we installed Active Directory on server 1 but not on server 2. We only installed it on server 1. So the proof is when you go to tools here, I hope everyone was able to find tools, right? And then Active Directory Administrative Center, Active Directory Domains and Trusts, Active Directory Module for Windows PowerShell, Active Directory Sites and Services, Active Directory Users and Computers, and ADSI added there. So these are all the Active Directory links that have been added because in last class we installed Active Directory Domain Services, or ADDS. Now that's why it is called a domain controller, although there are some other places I'm going to show you as well. But right now, are you on server 2 as well? Let's go to server 2 and go to the same tools area in server 2. So let's click the server 2 now, and if you're not logged in, go ahead and log in there. And the password, we gave the class password everywhere, otherwise it's supposed to be a different password. So small ABC, capital ABC, shift 1, 2, 3. If you're already logged in, you're okay. But if you're not logged in, just go ahead and log in. So server manager will start here as well now. In server 2, is server manager started for everyone? In server 2? So see this? If you go down to the Windows icon here, within the virtual machine, Windows icon here, within the virtual machine, once you click that, so if you go up, that's the first one, server manager, the first tile there. If you click that, so then you're there? Okay, awesome. So see this, are you on server 2 first of all?
Yeah, I'm on server 2.
Okay, you logged inside, right? Server 2. Then you go down to Windows icon within the virtual machine of server 2. Do you see that? So scroll down then. On the right side, you have to scroll down. See this? Scroll down.
No, you're on the Windows, you need to be on VMware.
Yeah, it is kind of a little,
Maybe there's a service associated with that, right? Maybe it's not set to automatic.
yeah, it is set automatically to start. And
Okay.
but sometimes we close it. In last class, we were working on it, so we must have closed it.
It was
Closed. Oh, okay. So at home, somebody is not creating the machines. This means. So we have to do it at home as well, right? Or try to take out just 1 hour and start virtual machines and be familiar with that.
So the good server manager.
Yeah. So it is resumed.
Yeah.
Okay. So you're logged in and you're seeing this area in server 2, or are you seeing this in server 2?
I went to the.
Oh yeah, click that. Although it is already open now. Yeah, in the background it is already open. So if server manager is already open, then you don't have to go there. But if it's not open, then you go down here and then click server manager. Okay, so on server 2, let's go to tools as well. And do you see anything, any link starting with Active Directory written? No? No? Okay. So we did install Active Directory, that's why it's not showing that. This means it's not a domain controller because there is no Active Directory link available there, right? So it's not a domain controller, but it could be a member server, it could be a standalone server, any two, because just this doesn't show that, it doesn't mean that it is a member server or it's a standalone server. So obviously when we join it to domain, we're going to know that, oh, that's how it becomes a member server. Right now we know that it's a standalone server because we did not join it to domain. How to join it to domain, we're going to see that today. What is the process? So first of all, we get the difference between domain controller and so let's go back to server 1. So first thing is you see a lot of Active Directory tools there that are showing. So if you go to, so everyone in server 1 back? Yes. Okay, thank you for the reply. And there are tools and we see Active Directory, right? So second thing is that do you see Active Directory users and computers? Now this is what you will be using pretty much all the time. You will be using that every day. So suppose somebody asks, there's a ticket raised there in the a company that hey, can you create sales departments, 2 users, and the names they gave there and their phone numbers and all the information. So you go to Active Directory and computers. Somebody says join 2 computers to domain. Okay, you have to go to this user computer and check that if the computers were joined. And you know, many tickets are resolved from here. So on server 1, when you go to tools, let's open Active Directory users and computers. We also call it ADUC, or Active Directory users and computers. So let's click that and open. So you can see here Active Directory users and computers. That's where normally we spend a lot of time in the production environment as well, in the companies as well. So you can see your name domain there. Yes, sir.
Did you guys do anything since?
Oh man. Oof.
It says here, naming information cannot be located.
We covered so much in half an hour, especially while you were not here. We went fast actually.
Well, a list of your computer.
Yeah, and we were all sitting here one by one. We were messing up and deleting everything for you. Okay, so. Okay, well. Zero properties. Well, it's start again. Just start again. So we just try to, you know, when we are first time in the water and learning to swim, we do this, right? We try to stay up. So just like if you can test everything around you and maybe it would work.
Okay. Yeah,
So
you're
try
right.
this one.
Things happen.
Okay, so we're there, right? Okay, now let's try to go ahead and if it is open, I hope you're seeing your first name domain.local. This is your network name or domain name. So normally we call it domain name. So expand that. See this? Expand that. And you can see all the built-in folders, all the folders there. There is built-in folder, there is computers, there is domain controllers, foreign security principles, managed services accounts, service accounts, and users. So these are also called OUs. What is OU? Organizational unit. Yeah, you're saying?
No, it's an object unit.
Object unit. Oh, okay. So OU would be organizational unit. So why do you call it organizational unit? So organizational. So first of all, you want to organize something. It's about organization. So see this, guys, you have this domain name here, right? Let's select that and right click on top of that. Once you right click on top of that, so we right click on the top of that. Adnan, you there? Okay, so right click on top of that and you can see new written there. Okay, so when you click new, so there is that organizational unit, very long name. Nobody can miss it, right? It's a long one. Organizational unit. Everyone seeing that, right? So once you see that, go ahead and click that. Why? Because we're creating an organizational unit. What's the scenario here? Sales department said, hey, I have my 20 users there. Can you create a separate OU or a separate folder for me so I can just drag my one user, second user, third user, fourth user, fifth user. So it will be organized. They should not be in several folders or any other folder. I will create a OU or a folder or a container for me called sales department. And then I will put all my users there. So whenever I go back here in Active Directory, oh, there's my sales department OU, and I will go inside, yeah, these are my users. So this means you're organizing that. Suppose there is sales department, marketing department, there is administration department, there is HR department. They all have their hundreds of users. So you can create one container, folder, or OU for each department to organize their users and computers, right? So, but that's not only what organization is used for. You also attach group policies, which is coming later. So let's click that organizational unit now. Once you click on top of that, let's go ahead and click that. So this screen should come to you. I hope everyone's seeing that screen, right? So once you're clicking that, so see this sales department department. Either you can put at the end OU, but we understand it is OU. Yeah. So right click on the domain. Right click. Click new. An organizational unit, the very long name. Do you see that there? Organizational unit. It's not there? Okay, so this is all Active Directory and computers. Left click. First left click was selected, now right click. And then new. And then where is organization? Yeah. This is it. So that's what oh, okay. No problem. But we practice it at home. Yay. Okay, you're there. And you're good, right? And you're good. And you're about to be good. Will be good.
Oh,
yeah.
he's in good hands.
Good.
Oh, yeah.
You can. We're sharing this.
All right. So that's sharing is sharing and scaring. Okay. So here, sales department, we get the idea. Okay, it's for organization, but it has a lot of other features. This is not all, but you will see that. So let's just press OK. We gave a name, but oh, sorry. Before that, pressing OK, you can see this protect container from accidental deletion. That's a very, very good option. Why? In 2003, I was an administrator of a university, and my junior administrator, she was just cleaning all the folders and trying to fine-tune all the folders or check that if there's anything, and she deleted the folder which had 70 professors user account there or for the university. She deleted that, and those professors who were there on the weekend, they were just working there just to check, and all of a sudden hundreds of calls started coming. Oh, I cannot log in, I cannot log in, I cannot log in. So she deleted by accident this sales department. Actually, there was that I think English department, that OU, she deleted. Now if that protection would have been there, she would not be able to delete it. She thought it was a folder that is, you know, duplicate of some folder. It's not needed. So this was introduced in 2008. So that was 2003 server. So we spent whole weekend to get the folders back. So when I was going for weekend out, there was a plan there, and I was about to leave the university, and the call came, and she was like, I deleted the folder. It was like, whoa, what happened? I was like, I was so scared then. Okay, don't worry, we have a backup. And yeah, I'll tell you the restaurant names that you will be paying to give us food for next 2 weeks. So I'm coming there to recover everything. Now she's the head of the department.
Backed up everything, right? That's the file.
Oh
like that.
yes,
So
thank
you can
God
retrieve,
we had a
you can
backup.
import it back, right? Okay.
We have to run that backup every day.
Okay.
That is the job saver. If that is not there, then that's the door. That's it. That's the only next thing. So we should be taking backup. So we're going to be knowing how to take a backup as well and how to restore as well. We're going to do that lab as well. Very, very important. Okay, anyway, so this feature is really, really very, we should appreciate that, and I really respect that feature. So anyway, let's press OK, and mistake can happen from anyone, right? So once you press OK, so sales department container is created. Let's go up there and right click again and go ahead and create marketing department. Just type here marketing department. So this is your task for, you got 30 seconds for that. Just create another OU called marketing department without any space. Marketing department without any space. This is not the real challenge. The real challenge is, can you delete it? So it's created. Okay, and press OK. Marketing department, do not put space there. Marketing department, one word, right? And if it's created, go ahead and press OK. So the challenge is how to delete it. If the boss says, oh, you created marketing department? No. We have HR department, sales department, and admin for now. We're not creating marketing department now. Suppose the boss says that. So how do you delete that then? So because there's accidental protection there, right? Accidental deletion protection, not accidental protection. So anyway, first I'm going to create that new and go to organizational unit. We get the idea. It's a piece of cake. Let's go ahead. So marketing department and press OK, and it is also created. So that's how we can organize users and computers here. We don't have users because we're going to be creating users now. 390 users in fact with PowerShell script. So that's going to be tricky as well. You really need to create that environment at home as well, guys. And those who are creating, you guys are really dedicated, very good that you're trying to do that. And I've given my WhatsApp number as well. You can just ask me, hey, I'm stuck here, and whatever I can do, I will help, which I cannot do, we can do it here, right? So the thing is that if you're doing it at home, you're really serious about that. Although you're serious, I understand that, but try to take out that time. Without this 200% dedication, don't think that you can get a job in the market. It's a very tough market outside. So you have to be tougher by giving it your 200% effort. Okay, so here, once the organizational units are created, so this is just one OU I was just trying to introduce you to. Now there's built-in group here, built-in folder here as well. So there are OUs that we can create, and then there are folders or containers. Also, they also call it containers. They also call it OUs. Now, the ones that we created, you can see the icon. There's a slight difference here. There's a another picture within the picture. If we understand that, right? If we see that carefully, but there are other folders that doesn't have that picture. Those are created by default, by factory default, you can say, or they're created by Microsoft. So when ActiveDirectory was being installed, these were already there, right? We only created sales and marketing ourselves. So you would see that they have a different icon as well. So is this doing tools. But let's just get introduction to the ActiveDirectory main folders there. First is the built-in, and built-in just means that it is already created by Microsoft for a very critical reason. So once you select, go ahead and select built-in, and on the right side, what do you see there? So expand that. I'm just going to make the screen bigger and keep on expanding these columns here. So you will see that there is two faces, two users created there, and then if you go further down until you see no single face, it's just two faces showing there. So two faces always means it's a group, and single face always means it's a user, right? So single face you will see in the users container, which is the third last one. But right now let's stick in the stay in the built-in and just try to understand what is that. So they are called security groups. Security group, security group, security group. Now why there are different names there? Access control assistants, administrator security group, account operators, and then there is certificate, and then backup operators. So what is the account operators security group job is, and what is backup operators security group job is? Anyone already knows that? What could be the reason that Microsoft thought that we should just create that and give them certain privileges already? They're already created because Suppose there's a user John that is being hired. You took the interview, user John, and you're doing backups every day, but you really need another resource that is dedicated for just backup, and you will later give many other tasks to that person. So you interviewed John, and he knows what is incremental backup, what is full backup, and how to restore from backup. What is authoritative backup, what is non-authoritative backup. There are many types. So you interview all that, and so then when user John is hired, you create a user account of user John, and then you add that account to a group, right? So if I double click that, let's go ahead and double click the backup operators, double click that backup operators. So I'm just double clicking that, right? Double click. So you should see this screen, right? So this screen is, you can make members, you can add members in this group, which is called security group, or this security group can be a member of another group. This security group can be a member of another group, or some users or some other groups can be a member of this group, right? So member and member of just means that either you add members to this group, John could be a member of this group, and member of means this security group can be a member of some other group as well, right? So security groups are used, so let's just close that, let's close that. Security groups are used to add members. Now Microsoft has created these built-in groups. You can see the folder name built-in. Why? Because Microsoft has given some specific privileges here. Backup operators can only take backups. Backup operator is only allowed to take backups, but account operators can only reset password of user accounts, create new accounts, delete accounts, and manage anything related to user accounts. But backup operators only can take backup and only can restore. So this means user John is added to backup operators group, but somebody says to user John, hey, can you reset my password? But John is added to backup operators, not to account operators. So can John reset a password? John has to be added to account operators group as well. So John could reset password, because that's the job of. So Microsoft has created these security groups, and certain privileges have been already given. Suppose Microsoft could have said that, hey, go ahead and create your own security group. We can create our own security group, but these groups were necessary to be created first. That there are some specific jobs in the environment that every company has. So we have created some groups for that, and we have given some privileges according to that task that you're going to perform. So backup operators only can take backup and restore. Account operators can only go for managing user accounts, right? So we understand that built-in groups are there, and every group has a purpose here, right? If you have that kind of task, or if you have deployed that role, then there are users who should have higher privileges to just use that application. So that is where this built-in security groups come. That, oh, you're just an account operator. You're suppose you get a level 1 job, and that is what if you didn't have a previous IT exposure, you should go for level 1 job first, which is desktop operators or desktop support or desktop analyst, which means that suppose you are hired in a company. So if there will be thousands of users, suppose, so any user can call you the first level of support, that, hey, my computer is slow, or I'm not able to actually reset the account, or it could be anything else that the end users can do. So you will be given that job, so you will be handling the user accounts there. Then when you become level 2 administrator, then you go for backup, taking backups of the machines, which is a very critical task. So it is given to level 2, level 3 administrators only. So we understand these are built-in groups with specified tasks already assigned to them. That's the main thing to understand here, right? So security groups are there, but then the next folder is computers, and you don't see anything here because we haven't joined any computer to domain yet. We are about to join server 2 to this network or this domain. So then ActiveDirectory will have a record of, oh yeah, server 2 is here. Server 2 is our secure computer now. ActiveDirectory will say, server 2, yes, ActiveDirectory trusts server 2, so it's okay. This is a trustable computer. Others, standalone computers, I don't know. So you want to trust that, trust it on your own risk, at your own risk, right? So you don't see any computer here, but we need to show that server 2 here. So how about we join it to domain and show it here now, right? So suppose you have 10,000 computers, they are all joined to this domain. Then there you will see 10,000 computer names showing here in a very long list here, right? So right now there is none because we did not join it any computer domain. So let's do that now. Stay on the computers on server 1 let's go to server 2 here. Let's go to server 2 and join it to domain, which means you're introducing server 2 to server 1. Hey, server 1, this is from now on our guy. This is our computer. You need to trust this computer, Active Directory. So Active Directory will have its record here automatically created. So I'm just going to go to server 2 here. I hope everyone's on server 2. And let's go to local server. Once we go to local server in server 2, let's click that local server in server manager. So you can see here what everyone sees, the exact same IP here in local server in server 2. Everyone sees that, right? So this means it's okay. All we need to do is go to workgroup. Workgroup is independent computers. They are not centrally managed by anyone. So they are part of workgroup, which is just not part of any central authentication system or an authorization system. So let's click the workgroup here. Once you click the workgroup, then this window should open, right? Once you click the workgroup, then this window should open. This is called joining a computer to domain, which means if there are 10,000 computers, you may want to join them all to domain. Why? Then whatever users you create in server 1, suppose user John, so user John can log into any of the 10,000 computers because user John is created in Active Directory and all the computers are joined to the Active Directory. Active Directory knows user, Active Directory knows computer as well. Active Directory is centrally authenticating the computer. Active Directory is centrally authenticating the user as well. So that user created in Active Directory can log into any computer that is joined to Active Directory or attached to Active Directory as well. So we're joining this computer to domain now. So Active Directory will say, yeah, this is, I know this computer, this is a safe one to use. So let's click the change. Once we click the change here, server 02 is written there, and let's go down to domain. Now it was part of workgroup, which means that it was independent, or it could have shared data with any other computer in the workgroup, but it's not centrally authorized. But right now we're going for domain. We're saying, hey, we're going to be part of a central authority now. So it then asks, okay, you're going to be part of a central authority. What is the name of that authority? Anyone can tell me what is the name of the authority? What is the domain name? Your first name domain.local. Remember we gave that name. So if I go to server 1 here just to show you where it is, so this is the name, your first name domain. This is the name of our domain right from now on, right? This is one name for our huge network. Suppose later we have 100,000 machines here, they will all be joining to this one domain name here. So let's go to server 2 and we're going to put your first name domain.local. So in my case, my first name domain.local, it's not case sensitive. So you have to put your first name domain.local. So you tell that computer from now on you're about to be part of this network or this domain. So you have to give that name. If everyone has put in that name, then press O and K. Once you press OK, do you see this screen? Credentials. What is this for? So authentication, exactly. So it is asking that who is this account that is allowing you to join this computer to domain. There has to be one user account that should be the king, that should have highest privileges or at least the privilege to join this computer to domain. So it needs authentication that, hey, do you have any other account that do you have a username here to put there that will allow this computer to join to domain. So that username has to be coming from Active Directory. That username should have highest privilege to join any computer domain. So keep the screen here open. Let's go back to server 1. I want to show you that where is that user that is the most powerful user here that can allow this computer to join to domain. So if you're still in server 1, let's go back to server 1. Let's go back to server 1 and you can see the users container here, which we haven't yet visited, but you can see the users container here. Once you click the users container, on the top, if I expand that column here, there is a single face here showing. This means it's a user, then there are double face, this means it's a group, and then there is a single face default account. So you see administrator. This is the built-in account administering the computer or domain. So administrator is right now within Active Directory. If you see administrator, this is the most powerful account in Active Directory, right? Is the most powerful account in Active Directory. Asif, do you see that? Are you in users in server 1?
Yeah, I'm in server 1, but this screen came up. So I just want to go to the tools.
And then user and computers, Active Directory, user
It is already open down there as well, but you can open another one as well. It's okay.
Passport goes out this one.
And it's a yellow one.
Oh, okay. It is,
It's already there. So do you see users there?
yes.
So you have to expand the domain like this.
Yeah, I got user.
Okay. Once you're inside the user, so on the top you can see the most powerful account there, administrator. Now this is that account that will allow the other machine to join this domain because it has all the privileges to do anything across the domain. As we say, king of the jungle, right? So this is that king of the jungle account. So let's go ahead. We understand. You just need to remember the spellings, and we all know administrator, right? That's the spellings. So in Linux, the most powerful account is root, R-O-O-T, root. Here it is, administrator in Windows, right? The most powerful account here. So let's go to server 2 now. We know now which user account name we're about to put here because it has all the authentication, authorization powers there. So let's just type here administrators, but not only, not ters, it's a ter, it's just a one user account, right? And the password, the class password that you gave to join, log into machine. Yeah.
Or you just create
New one and give it powers and
add members of whatever.
yeah, we can do that too. So small ABC, capital ABC, shape 1, 2, 3. So I'm putting that. This is the account that I'm password I'm putting there.
Welcome.
All right. If you see welcome, press OK, 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 and restart. So have you all put in that information? Yay! So administrator, check the spellings, check the password. Right? Administrator. Right? So if that has been put in, press OK. See this? Oh, okay. So we just need to check that. So I'm just going to press OK here. And if you've put the correct spellings, you should see this message. Right? So if you don't see that message, then we have to check that. Is it a spell mistake or is it... so if you do see that message, press OK and restart. OK, OK, close and restart. So what happened? Username password is correct, so press OK. Yep. And then press OK again. It is again asking. So again put the administrator. And yes, you have to type 200 times administrator in Notepad today. That used to be very fun.
Administrator.
Yeah, you will. And the password. Let's go for the password. So you gave the class password, right? Okay. The I. You keep it there. Yeah, you're good. Yeah, okay.
What did it do?
So press OK. No, it happens. Sometimes there's a typo. And press OK again. Yeah. And click the close button down. Yeah. And restart now. You good, sir? Close and restart. You good, right? Cool. Cool. And if we join this computer domain, will it appear in that computer's container now? Will it or will it not? Press OK here and close and restart now. Yay! So it's restarting now, but it may have been already appearing there. It may have already appeared there in. So someone, if the mouse is not going out of this screen, then there's a Control Alt. When you press on keyboard Control Alt, the mouse is released from the virtual screen. The mouse is released. Suppose you're going to server 1, it's not going there. So you want to release the mouse. So server 2 has restarted, but I will go to server 1 here. Server 2 is restarting, right? So let's go to server 1, guys. And do you see this? In ActiveDirectory computers, when you see computers now, see this? There is now computers server 2 showing there. Okay, so refresh. There's that button. This refresh will be our second best friend. First best friend is server manager. Second best friend is refresh. Because in Windows, if you don't refresh, you know, you've configured everything after 2 hours and it doesn't show. This refresh, it shows. So if I click refresh now, there you go, server 2. So everyone seeing server 2? Yes, 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 and okay, yes. No, no. So see this. Did you select the computers in server 1 on the board?
I see server, yeah.
Ah, yeah. There you go. Adnan, you see that too? Very good. So, so this is the second container inside Active Directory. So files is built in with all the security groups. We're going to be using them throughout our different labs. Then there's a computers here. So we joined a computer domain. Imagine if you have 10,000 computers there, you would have a very long list of computers to handle there. And then if under the computers we see the domain controllers, let's select that. So why server 1 is already there while we did not go through the join domain process? Why server 1 is already showing there? We did not join that to domain. Why is it showing in this folder already? See this, my facial expression? You're kidding me. Okay. No. Okay, that could be another reason. Yeah.
So only says it's a default one, it says on the thing.
Default first site name.
Site name.
You're kind of near. You're kind of near. Any possible reason it's already there? Why? It should not be there. But well, as per our experience from the previous computer, why this one is already there? What could be the reason?
The administrator.
Kind of near, but yeah. So I'm just trying you to figure out, give it a little thought. But obviously, I'm going to tell you. So if you installed Active Directory on this computer and it became a domain controller, it already became a domain controller. So once Active Directory is installed and we are inside Active Directory, so this already is a domain controller. So when you come here, obviously this should be showing already there because Active Directory is installed on server 1, so it will be showing. So later we're going to be installing Active Directory in server 2 as well later. So then server 2 will move from the member server container computers. In computers only member server show here. Only member server show here, right? Or client machine. Yeah. Member servers or client machines show here. Client machines are Windows XP, 7, Windows 7, Windows 8, Windows 10. That's it. Client machines, right? So thousands of client machines show here, and many of the member servers also show here. In Scotiabank, we had 2,200. There were 85,000 clients, so 2,200 servers were there, and 85,000 machines were there. So that was huge. So across the globe.
So if you make a trust relationship with another domain, that will show up on the domain controller as well.
Yes, exactly.
We do a trust.
Yeah.
Another separate.
Oh yeah, that is coming in 70.742, third course. How to create a trust relationship.
Okay.
We're going to be doing that. So here, computers. We understand that if you install in server 2 Active Directory, which we will be doing, so it will automatically shift from computers to domain controllers. As soon as it has Active Directory or whichever server operating system has Active Directory, it will automatically show up here if you join it to this domain, obviously. So we understand that this is already there because we installed already Active Directory. It's already a domain controller. That's why it's showing here. So foreign security principles, this is just that if you have any application, and for that, or especially foreign security principles are users from other forests. So this is our forest, or this is our, just like country has a border, our network has forest. There is nothing outside of forest. Everything is within the forest. Then forest, after the forest comes tree. After the tree comes site. After the site comes domain. I'm just repeating that again and again. I'll keep on throughout the course. I'll be repeating that, right? So we will be refreshing again and again. So if it was another company, totally stranger company there, and you're doing a collaboration for next 6 months, 1 year, suppose. So any user you add from another company here will land up in foreign security principles, right? Now, if we go down to manage service accounts, that's also a tricky one. Now user accounts are used for humans, right? Okay, we're humans and we will create, we can create for ourselves user account. When you join a company, they will create an account for you, right? So user account, and you will log in from that to your laptop and desktops. But how about if you create accounts for applications as well? So managed service accounts are user accounts for applications. What does that mean? Applications are not humans. So why do they have user accounts? So these are managed service accounts are user accounts which are for applications, right? Accounts for applications. Now applications normally talk to Active Directory as well automatically. If they need to retrieve users, suppose it's a hospital application and they need to from application they need to access the users area to get the name, retrieve the names of the staff, right, of the hospital staff or the doctors and nurses of the hospital. So the application needs to, for that application needs to have access to the Active Directory user computers first, then to get the users information. So for that they will be given a managed service account. You will create a user account and add it to this hospital application. Through this user account the application will access Active Directory. So just remember one thing about managed service account, that this account is used for applications, and when application wants to access Active Directory, if this account is not there, application cannot access Active Directory to retrieve doctor's account and nurse's account there or information about that. So if this managed service account is there, application will ask, hey, managed service account, can you give me access to the Active Directory, because you have the rights, you have been assigned to me, so I will request you, managed service account, to give me access to that Active Directory. So managed service accounts are for applications who want to access Active Directory, right? You understand that? So, but managed services account, normally just remember one thing, they are for applications, not for humans, right? They are for applications. So we're going to be handling that later as well. I'm just going to remove that. And if we go further, then there are users. That's where your king of the jungle is sitting there. Oh, okay. So then there are certain more built-in groups here as well. You saw some built-in groups in the built-in folder. Now you're seeing some built-in groups inside users folder or container as well. Let's use the terminology, they are containers, right? And what we created here was OU, but sometimes in production environment they say, hey, the sales department container, let's go there and remove and add some users. So they call it container or OUs as well. So users container is there. Now these are all containers. I also call them folder because they look like folders, but let's use the terminology, they are containers, right? Containers. So now there are some more security groups here, and we already talked about that. Security groups already created here are those which has been given some specific tasks carefully by Microsoft already. We're not supposed to mess with them, and we cannot. Suppose you accidentally want to delete some built-in group, you cannot delete that. It will not allow you to delete that. Even if you're logged in from this account, this has all the privileges to do anything you want across the domain. Still, this account cannot delete the already created by Microsoft security groups there, right? So we understand one thing here. Oh, we can create OUs here. We don't have users yet, but we can drag, when we create the users once, I'm going to ask you to drag the users under sales department. We pretend that 5 users are from sales department, 5 users are from marketing department, but we haven't created a group yet. So we've created organizational unit here. So if we go back here to users, let's go and click the users, and you see maybe you're already there, right? So if you right click on top of the users here, do you see new here? And now do you see this? So we know how to create an OU. Now let's create a group and check that can we create a group, what does it look like, what are the features there. So if you right click on the users just like that, I hope everyone's doing that. So then go to new and then group. Let's click that group here as well. Once you click that group, so you can see here group name, and we can just create here sales employee group. So sales employee group, exactly what it means, we're gonna do that when we create some user accounts there. So sales employee group here is a group for sales employee. Well, that was the definition. Okay, but it says global group. Group scope is global, domain local, universal. So there's a global group, which means that within this domain you can add this group to any other thing within the other domain also, with other domain also. Suppose you have New York domain there, you have a Toronto domain there, you have a London domain there, so you can add this group to other domains as well. Domain local, it will just if you create that group, you cannot add it to other domains, but you can add it to any resources within this domain. So, and universal again within other domain and across other forests as well. Suppose you have another total different company, you can add universal group there as well, right? To different companies' domains as well. But that when we go to 742, the third course, you will see on how to create and expand the forest to, if you have global branches there, how do you handle that? So right now we're talking about our own domain. So there's security group and distribution group. So security group just means that you want access on on some resource, it can give you that access. Distribution group is that you want to email the group, and all the members of that group will receive that email. That is called email group. So distribution group is only, the other name for distribution group is email group. So if you have Exchange server installed there, which is an email application, it will create distribution lists or distribution groups there, right? So distribution group is just an email group. If you have that email application, then only you can use that. Right now you cannot use that. The only thing you can use is security group. And just to show you what security group basically does, and maybe I've mentioned that before as well. Suppose you have a New York branch here, and New York branch has that printer. So, and Toronto guys want to print in that. So there's a Toronto branch here, Tor, and they want to print in a printer in New York branch. So you created this sales group here. So either what you do is sales group, and sales group has 200 users here, right? Inside the group you added one user, second user, third user, up to 200 users you've added there in the sales group. Now the boss says, hey, all these users in Toronto branch, because we are connected through WAN link here, wide area network link, so these users need to print from Toronto to printer of New York. So you then see that, oh, okay, 200 users, okay, let me add one user to this printer and connect it to read, second user, third user, fourth user, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, ninth, 10, up to 200 users. One by one, if you start adding them, it will take what, 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours? That's a lot of time, right? But you're a smart administrator and you already created a security group for those 200 users. They are all member of sales group here. So what you do, you want to give access to all these users, you just add one sales group to the printer permission and click that. They should be able to print from now on. So all the members of that sales group will have permission to print on this printer. So either you add 200 users one by one, or you add one group, and that is all the members of that group get that permission. So which is smarter way? To add a group or to add a user? Which is smarter? Or shorter way? Users, right? When we add users, that saves us time more, right? Okay. No, because not everyone was participating, so I just kept on going with that. No. Users are okay. So anyway, but yes, we get that. Security group gives access to resources. Just one liner for that. Security group gives access to resources. If you just say that in the interview, you start with that, they will know right away. Okay, this guy knows what he's talking about. So security groups always gives resources. Give access to resources, right? And resource here is printer, right? So this is security group. And distribution group, what is the job of distribution group?
Email group.
Email group, exactly. So security group, access to resources. Distribution group, email group, right? So this is an example of that. And yeah. So that's just I'm just going to remove that diagram. So we talk about the security group here, and we've created a security group. So I just want to show you that how to create a group and what types of groups and what kind of scope or level of access they have. So yep.
Just a quick.
Sure.
Now, in the group type. So if anyone's under distribution, they won't be able to execute any applications.
So they won't be able to be added to any resource. Distribution group is only purely for email.
Read only.
Yes. So only for sending email. Suppose somebody wants to add a distribution group to a printer or another shared folder, it won't add. It won't even show there. So, but security, okay, that's a good question, because security group can be made also mail enabled security group. What does that mean? Mail enabled security. They already do the security group task, but they are also, they can receive and send emails as well. Distribution group cannot be converted into security group or security enabled distribution group. There is no such thing. But security group can be mail enabled security group as well. So if you have a security group, why should you create for the same users an email group as well? Why don't you just add the features of emailing in that same security group as well? So that's where the task comes. So in Office 365 course, normally we go through all these exercises. Emailing. Without email, a company cannot survive. If your email is down, that's it. No business. Forget it. No income. Nothing. So that's why it's very critical to know emailing system. Either Exchange Server course or go for Office 365, which is the best. Okay. So anyway, security and global. If you have that, press OK. We are creating a security group. We understood there are types there, and this is a security group. We're going to press OK here. As soon as you press OK, because we right click on users, so this security group must have been created inside the users. Where is it? So if we go further down here, the second last one is this sales employee group. So everyone sees that. So this is also, you can see 2 users there. Just means it's a group. So, and it's a security group, but it does not have any privileges. It does not have. When we create a group, it has no rights and privileges, right? It cannot do anything right now. So if you add this group to, suppose the boss says, hey, all the members, suppose we added 2 or 3 users here, and they are all desktop analysts. They just got the job of desktop analyst, the level 1 support job. So, and those desktop analysts, you need to give them some privileges. So you want them to reset password. That's it. Reset password or create account. There's 2 things: reset password and create accounts. So now this group that we created has no privileges at all. But there already is another group in built-in. If I go to built-in here, there's an account operators group that actually does that. That has the privileges. So what you can do is add that group, sales employee group, into account operators group. What will that achieve?
So whoever belonging to security at that group will be able to reset or whatever privileges account operators have.
Why?
Because this is going to be member of,
Yeah.
account operator.
So if you add a group that we created inside account operators group, this is a built-in group. This already has privileges to create account, reset account, delete account, do anything with the account, user accounts. It already has privileges. If we create our own group which has no privileges, but we add our group to this group, what will happen? It will get all the privileges of this group. So sales employee, if added inside the account operators group, then every member of sales employee will get the privileges or powers that this account operators group has. When you add it, obviously it will get the privileges of that, right? If you remove it, all the privileges will be gone, right?
So can we manage those privileges, sales privileges, they want to give them the sales department, even though they are in accounts operators department. Can we remove certain privileges from them or no?
That's a very good question. So if you add it to account operators, everything that account operators does will be given. Whatever we don't want them to do, they will be able to do that too. But if you want to go for very specific privileges, just create, reset password, only 2. Then there is another powerful set of permissions called RBAC. We're going to talk about that. We're going to do, that is done with PowerShell. That's where the fun starts. So you want to give just 2 privileges or just 1 privilege, just reset password, nothing else. You can go for RBAC features. Right now if you add, well, so it will do whatever that account operators does. So it will not go for specific features right now. But RBAC is a later topic coming. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to give some specific permissions as well. But that is called RBAC. So guys, can I give you a challenge now? Add the group that we created to this group. How do we do that? Hint is, double click the account operator. Start from, I'm giving you a hint. After that, I'll leave you with the 1 minute task. So I'll go ahead and double click the account operators. And yeah, Adnan, are you in built-in? And do you see this account operators?
Sorry?
Adnan, did you see that? Account operators?
Account operator. I think you have to add.
You do? Yeah.
So you said add it to account operators?
Yeah. So double click the account operators. Okay. Okay, Adnan, where are you? Built-in. Do you see the account operators? Go up and down.
So
Go up and down.
sales employee added to account operators, right?
Yes.
Members.
Okay. Done already? So yeah, let me just show you here. If you double click that account operators group and click the members. Now here, can you just follow me till here, right? Go to account operators group, double click that, and do you see members there? So after that, it's a 1 minute task now to add our sales employee group to this members area. They should be added to just members area. Don't go away from members area. There's something here that will help you get that group become a member here. Obviously, there's a button here on the members area. There's an add button here. Yes, sir. You don't have account operators? Come on, man.
You could do it from sales
Yeah.
department. I mean, you could do it from the other way as well, right?
Yes.
Under users added to members.
Yep.
Rather than go to account operators.
Yeah, we can do that too. All right, thank you. Adnan, it's a built-in group. How you know? Fine. Why? So, are we all on this page? So, if you're all, see this account operators and members. Are we all there? Okay, then go down to add. There's an add on the bottom. Once you click the add button, let's do that, and then it we want to add that group there. So it says that it can add groups as well, right? So our group name starts with SALES, sales, and once it starts there, there's a check name. This check name is also very important feature. Whenever you type the initial spellings of anything and click check name, if it is there, it will just give you, in fact, it will give you a list of all the things, all the objects that start with this name. So if you type SALES and check name here, so it will just auto-complete if it finds something that starts with that name within Active Directory. So just type here, if you type wrong spellings, then obviously it won't be able to find that. You have to type the right spellings there at the start. SAL, if you type and check name, it will just check that, oh, SAL, there's only sales there. So were we able to find that? Okay, and press OK, that's it, right? So, but the scenario was that sales group that we created has no privileges unless it is added to a privileged group. Then it will have privileges. Until then, no. Don't expect that we create a group and it has privileges right away. What privileges? We don't have any way to give them privileges, the group that we create. So we're going to add that group to a built-in groups which already has been given some privileges, right? So these privileges from the built-in group will be inherited down here to.
So there was a button called like the remove group. So if you go there, you can remove this group.
Exactly. We're going to move.
Give the permission, and I'll say we're doing for a certain amount of time. After that is over, so you can just remove them from there.
Exactly. So press OK, and so your sales group should be looking like that, right? Right. So your sales group should. So it's just added there and press OK. Good. Thank you, sir. So, Adnan, you're done. Need help?
He might have spelled it wrong, so, but where can he find it? Yeah, I can. You got it?
Okay. So, yeah, it could be SLE or SAEL. Maybe you've typed it that way. Otherwise, you can check the spellings by going down to users. Adnan, go down to users. and then search where is that group. It was at the end of it, right? So what is the spellings for that? Scroll down. Scroll down and check the spellings and then add it there, right? So all right. Master G. So this means you have to bring coffee for everyone now. Thank you very much. So you can start giving orders. I'll go for medium double. Just kidding. So okay. Let's go ahead. Yay.
If you change the spelling in users, will it be able to find it?
Well, whatever the spellings were successfully changed.
The name now is correct in the spelling.
Yeah. So yeah. So if it is, so whatever the new spellings are, yes, if they are placed here, it will be able to find that. So you're good, right? Yep. Let me check that. So somebody's paying attention or not? So I hope there is no Facebook open there. So built in and go to account operators. Yeah, double click that, and yeah, or okay. Yeah, I will press OK. No. Yeah, okay. Again. And yeah, this is what we wanted. So okay, and we're good. Woohoo. Okay, and you're good, right? So here, let's go ahead and try to get the other objectives. So I'm just going to go down to this Active Directory. We were talking about Active Directory. We visited the Active Directory using computers. Then there is another role that Active Directory totally depends on, and that role is the DNS role. So DNS does what? What does DNS do? So Active Directory is doing AAA. What is DNS doing? It's another role that is doing name resolution. Memorize that.
Converting domain name into IP address. So,
Yeah.
yes.
It resolves computer name to IP address to computer names. So I'm going to write that, and then I'm just also putting there DHCP is IP management. Memorize that, right? So when I ask that again, so you should be able to say that Active Directory AAA, authentication, authorization, accounting, DNS is name resolution. Memorize that, and DNS is name resolution. DHCP is IP management. Memorize that, right? So next class I'll be asking that, and everyone should be saying it really fast, right? DNS does name resolution, so it resolves computer name to IP addresses and IP addresses to computer names. So this is in your OneNote as well. If you have OneNote access there, so it is there. All the headings are there. So guys, do you have OneNote access in the? So is this page open to you right now? So when you enter the class, first thing, open your OneNote, right? And whatever I see here, you should be seeing that too, right? In 2 to 10 seconds, it just upgrades the OneNote as well. Everyone's OneNote, right? So if you're logged in, you should be seeing day 3 right now, which is already created there. So I'll just put that diagram of day 2 here, because we are trying to go slowly ahead. And so this diagram.
I still can't get it through OneNote. I have to go through the Outlook.
Yeah. So Outlook, when you click.
I still get it, but I can't get it from OneNote. I have to go through Outlook.
Well, it's not supposed to be every time. But one time you have to just click the invite. So try now and see if it opens still today.
So I need to get an invite from you in order to add here, right?
Yeah. But do you have the college email?
Oh yeah, it's a meeting. Okay.
Yeah. And yeah, so you both have to have college email, right?
Yeah.
So you can both go to Tim Hortons, grab 3 coffees for the staff and 12 donuts, and then ask our college email will be great today, and hand over the whole 12 donuts there, right? So after that, maybe magic happens. It goes faster after that. But yeah, before that as well. Yeah, you don't want me to be kicked out as well. So okay, now there's that DNS, and we want to make sure that DNS is also okay. It's working fine. Now, what is the DNS doing for Active Directory? Why DNS is installed? So when you install Active Directory, you install DNS together. So what is the reason that Active Directory and DNS must be installed together, or DNS must be before Active Directory is installed, or DNS must be installed right with Active Directory? Anyone knows the reason for that? Yeah, you're good. Anyone else? Oh, okay. Yep. So
DNS requires any authentication details?
no, so Active Directory is responsible for authentication, authorization, accounting, but DNS is responsible for name resolution. Active Directory handles all the resources by name. So that word by name means, so server 2. So I showed you in the computers container inside Active Directory and computers that it is server 2 written there. It's not IP address written there, right? Server 2 is a name, not an IP, right? So
Just like NetBIOS back in the day, right?
yes, exactly. So it's name resolution, and Active Directory cannot work without DNS. DNS is a separate role. Active Directory is a separate role. ADDS is a separate role, right? So, but Active Directory cannot work without DNS. Suppose DNS is down, what will happen? Active Directory cannot access any resource by name. And Active Directory does not access any resource in the network by IP as well. If DNS is not there, Active Directory cannot work. That's the main thing that you need to understand. So let's go to DNS there. Let's go inside the machine. So server 1, everyone on server 1? Yes. Okay, thank you for the reply. And let's go minimize that Active Directory and computers there. So in server 1, do you see the tools here? In server 1, go to server manager, this one, go server 1, go to server manager and go to tools. Now if you go down, you can see this. I hope everyone's able to see that in server 1, the DNS. You're there. Nan Asif there, right? Okay. DNS, right? So open the DNS in tools. So once you open the DNS in tools, that is Active Directory totally depends on this role. And if something happens to DNS, then it makes a problem in Active Directory. And those big applications that are dependent on Active Directory's correct working are also affected. So if DNS goes down, Active Directory goes down, the big applications that are dependent on Active Directory also go down, just because DNS is not working. So DNS is so important, right? Very, very important. So if you're inside the DNS manager here, let's expand that, and you can see there's a forward lookup zone. I hope everyone has expanded that server 1 here, like Aziz.
I don't have that.
DNS?
Click on the arrow.
No problem. So it is this screen that you're in this window?
Yeah.
Okay. And did you expand the server 1?
I did that.
Okay. So Adan there as well? Okay, you're there. So here, forward lookup zone is there, reverse lookup zone. These are the two areas of DNS that do a specific task there. So if we go for that task, so first of all, it is forward lookup zone, and then so forward lookup zone is also, we can refer to as FLZ or forward lookup zone, and then there's a reverse lookup zone, and that is RLZ. That is reverse lookup zone. So what's the job of forward lookup zone? Resolves computer name to IP addresses. Resolves computer names to IP addresses. Computer names to IP addresses. So IP addresses. So resolves computer names to IP addresses, and RLZ is reverse lookup zone. It resolves IP address to computer names. Resolves IP addresses to computer names. To computer names. Wow. Should be writing a full essay with mouse as a pen. Okay, so forward lookup zone, FLZ's forward lookup zone resolves computer name to IP addresses. This means that if you have a computer name and you want to know its IP address, so the request will go to forward lookup zone, and then it will then resolve the computer name to IP address. So if you have an IP address there and you want to know its computer name in the network, so the request will go to reverse lookup zone, and then it will tell you the IP address of that computer name, or if there's an IP address, then it will tell you the computer name for that. So if you have a computer name, request goes to forward lookup zone, and it checks that, oh yeah, this is IP address for that. If you have IP address, request goes to reverse lookup zone, oh, this is a computer name. So you have to understand that this is how it is that it resolves host names to IP address and IP address to host names. And I'm just going to put it in. Yeah, so this diagram is there as well in OneNote, where forward lookup zone and reverse lookup zone. So I'm going to be asking in next class or tomorrow that what is IP, forward lookup zone and what is reverse lookup zone. Are they part of DHCP or DNS? Exactly, DNS.
Is that a part of domain?
Okay. And are they part of domain or not? So yes, they are part of domain. So we have talked about the already forward lookup zone, reverse lookup zone. So DNS is really important, and there's a small exercise that we always do to correct some of the basic settings or just follow the best practices in the production environment. So what are the best practices in production environment? There is another terminology called FQDN. What is FQDN? Yeah, FQDN. So FQDN is, as you said, fully qualified domain name, right? So you have to remember that fully qualified domain name, right? Domain name. So fully qualified domain name just means that your computer name. What is FQDN? So it means computer name plus domain name. Computer name plus domain name. So plus and then domain name. So in our case, if I ask you what is the FQDN of server 1, anyone would be able to tell me that?
Name domain.local.
So the FQDN of server 1 would be, so computer name, so it will be server 01 server 01 dot your, and what is the domain name? So that is, yeah, in my case FQDN of my server 1 is server 1 dot your first name domain dot local. So domain, your first name domain dot local. So that's the FQDN of my server 1. Obviously your domain name, your server name. And so what is the FQDN of server 2? Now we get the logic for that. What is the FQDN of server 2 right now? So server 2 dot your first name domain dot local. Exactly, that would be FQDN of server 2. So computer name, domain name, computer name, domain name, computer name, domain name. That's it. That's FQDN.
Is that like a built-in, or do we have to create that FQDN?
So it is built in because the domain has been created already. When you add a new computer name or a username there, so it will be just automatically added. Domain name will be automatically added to any resource you create now.
So, but it's not under the FR0 or RMZ right now.
So right now, whichever computer has joined to the domain already is there under FLZ.
So
And
server 2 should have.
yeah. So here, guys, if this is understood that what is FQDN, right? So then I'll just put that and remove it. So FQDN is fully qualified domain name, computer name plus server name, or I'll just put it in English as well. FQDN is computer name plus domain name. Guys, one more thing, FQDN for username is also there. So FQDN excuse me, for user would be obviously username plus domain name. FQDN for printer would be printer name plus domain name. So the logic is the same, that if there is an FQDN, it's computer name plus domain name for a computer, and username plus domain name for a user. So what is the FQDN of user John? So John at your first name domain.local, right? What is the computer name FQDN for server 2? We already talked about that. So and so it will be I.e server01 dot your first name domain.local, and here I.e suppose user John at your first name domain.local. So just they're placed or they're mentioned differently, but that's the FQDN. So if we go ahead further, so we have within the DNS, I'm just gonna, so forward lookup zone, let's expand the forward lookup zone. Once you expand the forward lookup zone, there is a msdcs dot your first name domain.local, and then there is your domain actually. So this is your domain zone has been created inside the forward lookup zone here, and within your domain name you must be familiar with the right side window here, which is really giving you what machines are part of your domain. So if you've gone through server 1, so I'm just gonna collapse that. First I went to server 1, then I expanded forward lookup zone, then now I'm expanding my domain name, or just I'm clicking on the my domain name, selecting my domain name only. On the right side I see server 1 and the correct IP of that, and server 2 and the correct IP of that. Do we all see that, right? So server 1, then go to forward lookup zone, and then double click on the domain name on the right side. Once you double click, you should see this screen. Everyone seen this screen? Okay. Yeah. So that is whenever there you see a server name and IP, so this is called a record. So if the boss says, hey, we just purchased 4 very expensive printers there, can you create an A record for all 4 printers there? So that just means that put the name of the printer, suppose it was floor 1 printer 1, floor 1 printer 2, floor 2 printer 1, floor 2 printer 2. Suppose they were like that. So you would actually put the name, but you have to give a network printer the IP as well. Anyone has ever given a IP to a network printer before? Network printer? Okay. So normally, oh, at home you have a printer that needs to, you put an IP there. Okay, so that's good. So then once that IP is there, then you can just download the drivers in your machine, or you can just wirelessly also give that IP there. So the thing is that A record just means name and IP, name and IP, name and IP. So if you have 10,000 machines there, Windows 7, Windows 8, Windows 10, you will have a very, very long list of name and IP, name and IP, name and IP there. So as soon as you join a machine to a domain, the A record gets created right away. We never created the server 2 A record. We just came here first time, right? But we see a record of server 2 already there. We never created that ourselves, right? Suppose the printer is joined there. So suppose you got a very cool printer there. So, and the boss says, hey, this is the name and this is the IP. So let's create a fake A record right now, right? So how do we create a fake A record? We don't have a printer here, but we're gonna create the name and IP of a printer as if pretending we have it. So let's right click on the domain here. Under the for lookup zone, you see your name domain. Right click here and go down to this new host A or AA record. Anyone knows what's the purpose of AA? So first of all, A record is name and IP of a machine. Name and IP, name and IP, name and IP. That's it. A record means name and IP. So AA just means that A is for IPv4 and AA is for IPv6, right? So new host A record, because suppose our printer, we just got a new printer here and you're the administrator, you need to create its A record, because this is the only way you can give A record to a DNS. You can tell DNS, hey DNS, we have a printer and it can be accessed by name. You can tell DNS, hey DNS, we have a printer over the network, a network printer, and we can access it by name. So I'm telling you the name of that printer now, so you can, whoever tries to access that printer by name, so the request will go to the forward lookup zone of DNS, and DNS will say, yes, I have a printer with this name and this IP, go ahead and connect now. So let's click that new host A record here, and once you click that new host A record, you should see this screen. Everyone seeing this screen? And just make believe printers there, so it's PRT01, right? Suppose, and you can see automatically FQDN is given to that. As soon as you create that, PRT01 dot your first name domain dot local is already attached to that. So you just type on the top here PRT01, that's it. And IP address, you can just go for any fake IP, 192.168.200.10. Suppose that's the IP you've given. So this is just a brief introduction to DNS, that DNS has A records, and we're going to go for pointer records as well. So PRT01 is there, 192.168.200.10. Suppose you gave that IP in the printer already. So let's click the add host. Now create associated pointer record. We need to still go there now. But I'm going to explain that after we have created that. So this is how to create an A record. And suppose it was a printer. Suppose you were joining, so there are 10 Windows 10 desktops that arrived, and you have been given a task, hey, can you join Windows 10 desktops to domain? So when you join them to domain, automatically the A record becomes created here. Automatically the 10 A records for those 10 desktops, name and IP, name and IP, name and IP, name and IP appears there. But when it's printer, you have to create an A record yourself. Why? Printer cannot join the domain the way there's a domain button there, right? If you click domain button, then you can put the domain name. In printer, you cannot put the domain name unless the latest printers might have that. But for as far as I know, you cannot join the printers to domain. They don't have operating system of Microsoft. Printers do not have an operating system. So okay, if you've mentioned that, let's click the add host. Once you click the add host, the host was successfully created. I hope everyone's seeing that. So press OK and click done. Press OK and click done. So now we have a PRT01 and this is the IP there. So if anyone accesses PRT01 by name, the request will go to DNS, forward lookup zone, and it will let you access that because this record exists in DNS. So then we go for reverse lookup zone here as well. Reverse lookup zone. And in reverse lookup zone, it is not created at all, right? So, and when we were talking about FQDN, so let's click the reverse lookup zone now. And we are about to create a reverse lookup zone, but keep the window here. Keep the window on reverse lookup zone because it's not created. Why? I want to show you with a simple command here that what is going on right now. And when we create reverse lookup zone, what will happen after that? So see this? Can you open command prompt in server 1 right now? So how do you open a command prompt in server 1? So you can go to search CMD, or you can right click on this Windows icon here and go to command prompt admin here. We need a command prompt admin. So right click the Windows icon. I hope everyone is able to right click on Windows icon here and then go to command prompt admin. I hope everyone is able to see that. So are you seeing the Windows here? See this? Windows, right click. Right click. When you right click, do you see then this option here?
Right click. You left click and left click.
And then this command prompt admin. So that's 5 coffees. Oh, just kidding. Okay. So no, 6. Okay. So command prompt admin, and this should open now. So there's a DNS related command. Actually, there are 3, but first one is NSLOOKUP, NSLOOKUP. So that's the first command that you should know. NSLOOKUP just means, NS means name server or DNS server. Lookup means search. Search my DNS server and give me the proper name and proper IP of my DNS server in my network. So NSLOOKUP, when you go ahead and press enter after typing NSLOOKUP, so it shows you localhost and address 127.0.0.1. So our DNS is installed on server 1. So what I was expecting was default server should have been server1 dot your first name domain dot local. And do you know the IP of server 1 right now? What is the IP we have given to the server 1? 192.168 dot 200 dot server 1.
Oh, server one.
Server 1, what is that?
200.1.
200.1 exactly. 200.1. We have given the IP of 200.1 to server 1 and 200.2 to server 2. So when we type NSLOOKUP, it should give me server 1 dot your first name domain dot local, and the IP should be 192.168.200.1. It should be giving me that. Suppose you have 10,000 machines there and you're on floor 6th there, and right before you use a Windows 10 machine, you log in and you type NSLOOKUP from any random machine. It should give you correct information. This is incorrect information now. So let's correct this information as a best practice. So when you join a company, this is something that you check first, that hey, where is my NSLOOKUP and what is my NSLOOKUP IP? So this 127 is not the IP of my DNS server, and localhost is not the name of my DNS server. My DNS server name is server01 dot your first name dot local, and the IP of my DNS server is 192.168.200.1. So NSLOOKUP should give me correct information what to do for that. So I'm just so in order to go out of this, Control C. Type Control C here. As soon as you type Control C, you will be out of this interactive mode of NSLOOKUP. You will be out in the prompt,
Mine says administrator. Is that okay?
which is okay.
Windows admin.
Yeah.
Use administrator.
Yeah, it's okay. So okay guys, NSLOOKUP should give me correct information. This is just a best practice. If we don't do that, still DNS will be working fine, but it's a best practice to do that. So what we will do now is minimize this command prompt, minimize this command prompt, and if you have minimized it, first of all we need to go to local server. We need to correct the IP first, and we're going to come back here, we're going to give the command again, we're going to check that at least IP is okay or not. So everyone on local server, in server manager in server 1. So once you're in local server in server manager in server 1, down there, server manager, local server in server 1. Okay, so if you're in the local server here, do you see this Ethernet 0? Let's correct our preferred DNS. So go to Ethernet 0 or go to the static IP area if you remember that. Otherwise, follow me. So Ethernet 0 and click that. I hope Ethernet 0 is coming to you again. Double click that too. And properties. And then IPv4. Double click. So what do we see in the preferred DNS server? 127. So it's as you may have remembered on day 1 or day 2, we gave this IP above IP here as well, but it changed it to 127. 127 is a loopback address. 127 means me. So the server says that as soon as DNS was installed, this server realized, oh, I am the DNS server. So I should change the IP to 127. 127 just means it's pointing to that same server. Pointing. So preferred DNS, I prefer me as my DNS server. This server is saying. For all other 10,000 machines, 192.168.200.1 will be the IP in the preferred DNS of all the 10,000 machines there. But here in the server, it just pointed to itself, which is natural. It only happens once. So let's just remove that from here and type back here 192.168.200.1. We're doing that because NS lookup should give us correct information. If you don't do that, suppose 127.0.0.1 is already there, it stays there, suppose, and you join a new company and you check the DNS setting configurations there, and you see that and you see that 127 is still there, it's okay. For purely Windows environment, 127 is okay, it doesn't matter. But best practice is give the correct IP where DNS server lives right now. DNS server lives on this IP 192.168.200.1. So if you have given this already, press OK and press OK. That's it. OK. Close. OK. Close, and then just close this Ethernet 0 window as well. Just close this Ethernet 0 window. Do you still have that command prompt open? This one, because I asked you to minimize, not close it. So if that command prompt is open, click it. So once you click that, I hope you already see the command prompt. Did you all go for Control C there? Did you all press Control C? Now on the keyboard, do you see up arrow? On the keyboard, do you see up arrow? On the keyboard. As soon as you type up arrow, the previous command that you wrote will appear here. So go to the keyboard. Go to the keyboard and press the up arrow key. The arrow that is, pointing towards up. So NS lookup, or just type NS lookup. Go ahead and type NS lookup there. So once you type NS lookup again, press enter. At least IP should be correct now. It's correct, right? It's correct. Okay. And now it's just correct. The IP. Good. So then Control C out of that again, because we need to correct the name as well. Control C out of that again. This is something that you should do as soon as you join the company, that okay, I just need to see my NS lookup showing me the correct DNS server or DNS servers. Big companies have multiple DNS servers, 2, 3, right? If Control C, if you have done Control C, now minimize this again because we're gonna visit it again after this. So do you see another icon that is already open? This one, the globe and some white boxes icon. This is the DNS server where we already were. So let's click that DNS server and you should see this. Now remember that reverse lookup zone was not configured there. So right click the reverse lookup zone now and it says new zoo. It's not zoo, it's zone. Yeah, new zone. I hope everyone's seeing that, right? Okay. And new zone here. And once you go for new zone, because a purely Windows environment, you don't need to configure reverse lookup zone. But nowadays, pretty much every company has Windows and Linux. Linux is always there in majority of the companies. So if you have Linux and Windows, you must have reverse lookup zone also configured. Because Linux, if Linux wants to communicate with Windows and maybe it has just an IP of Windows, so it would want to know the name of Windows. So reverse lookup zone resolves IP address to computer names. Forward lookup zone resolves computer name to IP addresses, right? So if you have Linux and Windows, it's better to configure reverse lookup zone. Also, when you have large applications like Exchange Server, then you also configure reverse lookup zone. So if you are on the welcome to the new zone wizard, let's click next. And primary zone, secondary zone, stub zone, store the zone in ActiveDirectory. So it's just saying that zone, what is a zone? Area where you configure DNS configurations. You're about to tell DNS, hey DNS, I want you to do this, that's it, right? So we're telling DNS what to do. So that is called zone. So primary zone is for read and write. Primary zone is always a read and write zone. So primary zone is RW, read and write zone. Secondary zone is read only zone. So this means that if you have a small branch and you want to put a DNS there, so you will put their secondary zone in a small branch. Why? You don't want it to be attacked by a hacker or hacker would change anything. When it's read only, you cannot make any change, right? When it is read and write, you can make all the changes. So primary zone is always read and write zone, and secondary zone is always read only zone, right? Read only zone. And stub zone is for small branches. Stub zone is for small branches where you do not install full DNS server. So stub zone is for small branch. And then comes the store the zone in Active Directory. So store the zone in Active Directory just means that the DNS or this DNS uses all the features of Active Directory, all the security features, of Active Directory, security features as well as topology of Active Directory, security features of AD, Active Directory of AD. So whenever I say Active Directory, whenever I say AD, it's Active Directory. So store the zone in Active Directory just means that Active Directory partition, there's an application partition inside that saves that information. Oh, DNS is totally collaborated with Active Directory now. DNS uses the encryption of Active Directory. DNS uses the topology of Active Directory. So this DNS uses the security features of Active Directory. That's one thing. And topology of Active Directory. So suppose Active Directory of New York is connected to Active Directory of Toronto and then of London as well. So Active Directory is connected to New York, Toronto, London. So DNS will also take that path and update each other. DNS in London will update DNS in Toronto. DNS in Toronto will update DNS in New York. DNS in New York will update DNS in London back. So topology of AD is also used there. So primary zone, read and write zone, you can make changes here. We created an A record because it's a read and write zone. If it was a read only zone, we could not have been able to make a record there, fake A record that we created there. So we understand that there are some roles here. You just need to repeat that repetition. The whole magic is inside repetition. The success is hiding behind repetition, right? So you repeat that at home. You're good. You're on the right path. If you're not able to give time at home, then consider this time, as being wasted right now. Because one time, if you're an extraordinary genius, you will remember and memorize everything in once only. I've given that once lecture, and now after 10 days I will ask you and you will be exactly telling me everything without repeating anything at home. This means you're genius. Otherwise, repeat every day, right? So those, my boss for like 3 years in one company, my boss at the start when he joined the company, he didn't know much and I knew more. The only magic was when he was determined, he wanted to implement some application, he would repeat it in the test environment 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We were lazy, or we are like, okay, yeah, let's do that again. Third time, oh, there are errors. He would spend all night and repeat until he was the expert of that application. So ultimately, first he was our colleague, then he became our boss. That was so painful, but anyway, he deserved it. And because he showed those features of determination and repetition. So that's how you become bosses in companies as well, when you really work hard, right? So you're promoted. They all keep an eye on every employee. Okay, so what we know here is that the DNS. Now let's just go ahead, and I have put in that information there. So let's click next here. We understand some of the options there. Let's click next. Once we click next here, so it says that to all DNS servers running on domain controllers. So it says that, hey, you want to announce to all the DNS servers in this domain, your first name domain.local, we just have one DNS server. It doesn't apply to us. There are no two DNS servers there, right? Then to all DNS servers across the forest, we just have one DNS server again. to all the other DNS servers, you want to tell that we are creating a reverse lookup zone in older ones as well, Windows 2000. We just have one DNS server. Okay, so all three does not apply to us. Click next. Okay, IPv4, we're not using IPv6, so IPv4 reverse lookup zone. So it is selected. Next. Now it is asking, hey, can you tell me the network ID? What is the IP range that you're using here? I'm not interested in the client IP, but just the network IP range. So 192.168.200 is the network IP range we're using here. So it just needs to know that. Make sure that 192 is not 193 or 168 is not 169, right? And 200, the two zeros are both small case. So if you done, okay, so once we are done with that, so then click next, right? And now this is a step finale here. It says allow only secure dynamic updates. Recommended for ActiveDirectory. Huh? Yeah.
On reverse lookup zone name, so that IP address is on the reverse.
This one?
Yeah, when you look at the bottom. So
Yeah. Yeah, this is the way they put it for big applications. So large applications, they also read the reverse lookup zone entry like this as well. Suppose you want to connect it to the large applications, which we don't have here. So in that case, you use that. Otherwise, network ID is good enough for majority of the time. Okay, guys. So here, next. And then there is allow only secure dynamic updates. Secure and dynamic. What does these two words mean? What does secure mean? What does dynamic mean here? Secure means secure, I understand. What are we saying really here? Dynamic is automatic. Okay. What is secure?
When you log into the domain,
So it has everything to do with domain, exactly. So yes, it says here that allow only secure dynamic updates. This is the first DNS server, right? When you create a second DNS server, you want the first DNS server will update. So we create a fake record here, PRT01 printer. But when there are two DNS servers, the first DNS server updates the second DNS server automatically. That I have that record. Update yourself as well. So when you create a record here, suppose you have 10 DNS servers. All other 9 DNS servers will have the same record in seconds. They will all know at once. So when you go to 5th DNS server, you will see, oh, PRT01 is there as well. While I created in the first one, it is already there because they are supposed to update each other, right? So it is saying allow only secure dynamic updates. Hey, DNS number 1, if you want to update DNS number 2, the DNS number 2 better be part of the Active Directory domain. It should not be a standalone server. This is considered secure. Secure means that second DNS server is joined to the domain and then you're updating this guy. That DNS server is not a standalone server. Standalone server, ActiveDirectory says it's not secure. ActiveDirectory does not know it. ActiveDirectory considers every standalone server as unsecure. Maybe it is secure. Maybe you have kept an eye on that. ActiveDirectory considers every standalone server as an insecure server, right? Because it is not part of the domain. You cannot centrally manage that. So secure just means that, hey, DNS server, update the other DNS server that is secure. So I'm allowing only those DNS servers to be updated by this DNS server who are part of ActiveDirectory. That's what it's saying here. If they're not part of the ActiveDirectory, forget it, right? Don't update those. So if you select that, then you have a standalone server and you install DNS server on that. This DNS server is not allowed to update that DNS server which is on a standalone machine. This DNS server is only allowed to update a DNS server that is part of the domain. Do you understand what we're talking about? Right? So I'm just going to create a diagram for that as well. And that is, if you have this is our DNS server, right? And we have two machines here. But then we create a third machine here, right? So this is server 1, this is server 2, but you create 3 as well. And on server 1, we have a DNS server here. And AD knows that, ActiveDirectory knows that because it is joined to the domain. But now this server has not joined to the domain yet. It is if it is not joined to the domain, it is a standalone server. We talked about that, right? Standalone server means it does not follow any policies of the domain controller. It's just standing alone, right? Standalone server. Wow, What kind of spellings are that? Stand alone. So standalone server. So, but then your senior administrator said, no, I'm going to install DNS here. So now DNS with Active Directory collaboration, it is installed here. So, but there's a DNS here in a standalone server, which has nothing to do with Active Directory right now. It's standalone means no Active Directory communication right now, right? So what will happen in the first case, if you have selected this allow only secure dynamic updates, so this DNS cannot update another DNS. Hey, I have a PRT record here, update yourself. So it is not allowed because Active Directory considers this standalone server as insecure. So you're not allowed to update this DNS server. But what is allowed? Can you tell me that? What is allowed then? If you, this is a member server, right? That is a standalone server. This is a member server. On a member server, which member server means join to domain. Join to domain. Yeah, exactly. So member server, if you install DNS here, what will happen now? So this DNS is allowed to update this DNS server, but this DNS server is not allowed to update this DNS server. Why? Tell me. Yes. One is a member, which means it is secure. Other is not a member of Active Directory, which means it's not secure. We understand that, right? So the first option says only secure dynamic updates. This means you better have a DNS server on a member server. Don't install a DNS server on a standalone server, right? Right? So that's the first option. Second option is allow both non-secure and secure dynamic updates. That's the opposite of that. So secure update, you update this DNS server on the member server, and you're also allowed to update the DNS server on a standalone server as well, which means you have a Linux environment now. You know, normally what happens is you install Linux. Anyone knows what is the DNS called in Linux? We have a Linux guru here. Oh, okay, yeah. Hey, you were using Kali Linux, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so what is DNS called in Linux? Bind. B-I-N-D.
I don't use GUI a lot.
Okay, that's why. Because bind is also command prompt. So it is bind bind, but it's just we're not gonna use that. It's just some information, right? So bind bind is, suppose you have another Linux machine with a DNS server. Active Directory does not trust anything that has not joined the domain. Linux machine cannot join a domain. You cannot, right? Unless you put a Samba application there. Samba is it connects Linux and Windows machine to share files only, but not join the domain. Linux machine never joins the domain. So Linux machine or standalone server, if they have DNS server, then it's allows secure and non-secure dynamic updates. Dynamic means automatic. The record creates here at once. The record should be created across the network on other DNS servers as well, right? Okay, and then the last one is do not allow dynamic updates. What does that mean?
As soon as you create the record, you go and update.
Yeah.
Manually, maybe.
So manually, what is manually? So suppose you have 3 DNS servers. You create a record in one printer record in one DNS server. What do you do with the next 2? You will go to the next one. You will create the same A record there. You will go to the third one. You will create the same record there as well manually. Unless you want that. If you want that, click the third option. Otherwise, second option is if you have Windows and Linux environments. First option is if you have purely Windows environment, right? So do we understand what we're talking about? Well, that is rare, but it is there. So this means that suppose you have a standalone server there for, suppose there's some very critical application that has to be installed standalone. It's an old application, but it works pretty much, and it's giving company millions of dollars. Suppose still, so company will not get rid of that application, right? Just to upgrade that. So they are putting it in standalone server, but then you put a DNS server there as well, and the secure. There is only 2 DNS servers there, so you can just go down to the third option as well. And if you don't have 10 or 20 DNS servers in a very large organization, if it's a small organization with 2 DNS servers, go ahead with manual as well. If the special situation requires it, otherwise nobody uses that. Yes. Print screen. Okay, so once this is done, so allow only secure dynamic updates. Okay, so if you're there and we understand what are the options there, then click next and completing the zone wizard. Everyone on the screen? Finito. Let's click finito. Once we click finito here, so be careful here, guys. Now go to server 1 and refresh. Go to server 1 just a few million times. Refresh. Go to server 1, select it, and then refresh. Did we do that? It's mucho importante. Very important. So second thing is, if you go down to reverse lookup zone now and expand the reverse lookup zone down there, reverse lookup zone, and click that, do you see all three A records here? Server 1, server 2, and the fake printer. Do you see all three there? No? Same as mine, right? I don't see all three there. You should also not be seeing all three. Well, that's what I meant. So A record.
So on the main server manager, right, there's a DNS option as well, but it doesn't take you to the DNS under tools.
No, so you have to right click on the right side and then go to DNS manager separately.
Okay.
So
I can't even
huh?
right click.
Oh
I'm talking about this thing.
yeah, right click on the line, selected line. No, not this one.
Oh, this one?
Yeah,
Oh.
DNS manager. So here, guys, this is why the pointer records are not showing here. So try to first understand in forward lookup zone when there are three. I'm going to expand the forward lookup zone and go to the domain. I can see the three records here, right? PRT01, server 1, server 2. In server 1 and forward lookup zone. These are called A records. These same records in reverse lookup zone are called pointer records, PTR records. These same records in reverse lookup zone are called PTR records. Just remember that for now. They have just different names. So if the boss says, hey, create a record and pointer record for a printer. So this means the boss wants the information about that machine in forward lookup zone. The boss wants the information of that machine in reverse lookup zone as well. Right? So it's already a break. Huh? Should be, but it's not finished yet. Oh yeah, you have a phone. Okay. Anyway, so let's forward lookup zone, and so there's that A record, and it has three records there, and then there's a reverse lookup zone, and that is so we just need to have those three records here as well in reverse lookup zone, right? So the only last thing to do is that we need to go back to forward lookup zone. Let's go there, forward lookup zone, and then there is server 1 here. So whatever records are already there, they will not show up right away. You just have to go manually. See this server 1. Are we all inside server 1?
Yep.
Double click that, and there is that option here, update associated pointer record, because reverse lookup zone was just created now. Now future machines that you join to domain, they will have automatic A record and automatic pointer record. But those machines that were not joined yet, you have to go there and go ahead and click that update associated pointer record for all three A records, just to have them appear in the next zone as well, reverse lookup zone. Yeah.
I missed it.
Yeah. So did you see that? Are you in forward lookup zone?
I'm in the forward lookup zone.
Then are you in the domain?
I'm in the domain now.
Like, and then on the right side, do you see server 1?
Yeah.
Double click that, and
Update is
yes, update, apply. Okay. Server, go to server 2. Do the same thing. Update. Oh, okay. Server 2 already shows this, right? So uncheck that. If it already has that, server 2. So are you on server 1?
I did that. I went to server 2 now, but I didn't. It's still on the server.
So are you on the server 1 here? So we did that, right?
Okay, yeah. You mean okay? Yeah.
Yeah. So the A record of server 2. So server 2, and is it already selected there?
It was selected, I answered.
Yeah. If it is already selected and it was not showing a reverse lookup zone, so I'm just gonna uncheck that and apply. Why? Because it was not showing there, so I need to show it there. So uncheck that and apply, and then check again and apply. That will make it appear there in reverse lookup zone as well, right? So uncheck, apply, and then check apply. Why? Because it was not showing before in reverse lookup zone. Now it will show in reverse lookup zone after you apply again. So, and press OK. And the third one, let's just do the same thing. PRT01. Is it already selected here?
Yeah.
PRT01, are we there? The third A record. So it is already selected. Uncheck that, apply. It is removed, and then uncheck and check it and apply as well. It is added. Why are we doing all this? Because we want these records to show in reverse lookup zone as well. What's the big deal with showing them in reverse lookup zone? Why is it so important?
Vice versa.
Like if Linux machines want to access these Windows machine, their request will go to reverse lookup zone. Yeah, they will get the IP address, Linux machines. In your majority or 99% of the networks out there, they have Linux machines. So reverse lookup zone, you must know how to configure. So repeat. There you go.
Uncheck it, apply it, check it, apply it.
Yeah, because, and it is only done when reverse lookup zone was fully installed now, but there were some machines already there. For those already machines there, you have to do this. Newer machines in future, automatically they will have A record and pointer record automatically.
Okay, so you don't have to worry about that.
In future, you don't have to worry about it.
I checked it, but it's not. There's only 2 records still on the reverse.
Yeah, because I'm about to tell you one more step, which we did not do. See this? Go to server 1, and our third best friend is, go to server 1, select it, and third best friend is refresh. In Windows, refresh is the king. Refresh is the king. Huh?
Million times.
Million just a few million times. So refresh, and then go down to reverse lookup zone, and then click that, and all 3 records are there. So select the server, and refresh is our third best friend. Without refresh, your 2 hours of effort is not showing there. Refresh, oh, it's there. Okay guys, now let's take a break. But our boss already took the break, so yeah. So the 3 records are showing there, Asif? Aya means no?
Yes.
Okay.
Just a very quick question.
Yes, sir.
Just the pointer. What's the name? You have the A record and then the pointer record.
Yes.
Right? The pointer record is just for me like.
Yeah, sure.
The meaning of pointer record is like.
So pointer record or PTR record is the name of a record in a reverse lookup zone. The purpose of reverse lookup zone is to resolve IP to name.
It's not on the forward. It's not always on the reverse.
Yes, it's always PTR means reverse. Air means forward.
Pointed to.
Yeah, pointing to the IP.
IP address.
Yeah. So if anyone has an IP, needs to know the name, the request goes to reverse lookup zone, and pointer record is there. This means you can access. Linux machine can access Windows machine now, or any standalone machine of Windows can access a machine that is added here with pointer record. So pointer records are very important.
A lot of print servers are on Linux.
Yeah.
They're kind of,
So you have to create them pointer record and A record.
a lot of printers they come with like preloaded Linux.
Oh yes. So normally that's why you have to create their A and pointer yourself.
Like Xerox
Yeah,
printers. They all.
They have their menu, exactly, remote menu as well.
I mean, the Raspberry Pi, like, I love it. This size you install a whole Linux.
Exactly. Okay guys, so now since we are not interested in breaks, so let's continue. And the next topic is okay, zooming in 3, 2, 1, and we're back from the break, and let's get going with our rest of the actual objectives. So there is that DNS we talked about, and we ran NS lookup, and in fact we did not run NS lookup. So let's run the NS lookup as well. So are we down to this command prompt here? And up arrow, so and enter, so you should see just like that. Now somebody got up earlier and forgot to do some steps there. I mean, when you left, then we did some very critical last steps. So well, when you do an lookup, you should be seeing that now, right? It's the FQDN and the IP, right?
Server 01.
So the computer name and domain name. So you just have to type nslookup again in command prompt, and in command prompt you just have to type that, and it should come just like before you were typing there. Now the full name should come there, right? So it's coming, Asif? It's coming, okay. And so let me just do that real quick. So we can go ahead. Woohoo!
So NS lookup, right?
Yeah. So one.
So one, yeah.
Come on, man. That's the critical steps. Control C. Control C again. And if you keep the same control, and then C. Yeah. And up arrow. Enter. And now you're done. Okay. So let's go ahead. Woo. So just to remember, if you want to go for more troubleshooting, it's not if you will be facing that. So in that case, if we control C out of that, there are two more commands for DNS that are very much used for troubleshooting. So while we're talking about DNS, the two commands that you should remember are ipconfig space flush DNS, ipconfig space / flush DNS, and then there's ipconfig space / register DNS. So these two commands are also there. The purpose of flush DNS is to really remove the current information of DNS from the server, and then register DNS just means, so flush DNS, if you type there, press enter, so it should just show that successfully flushed the DNS resolver. And then the second command is ipconfig space / register DNS. This is just extra information, but if you press enter, if your command prompt is already with admin privileges open, then you will be able to run register DNS. But normally flush DNS just really does the job, and if by name you're not able to access some resource, then you just run this command and then try again, and you will be able to run that resource by name. So flush DNS and register DNS, just remember that these are the two troubleshooting commands for DNS as well, right? Well, if you just note it down somewhere, that is good as well. Otherwise, we're not actually using that right now. So you don't have to do that. You just remember the words, names here. So I'll just take a picture of that and put it in that OneNote as well. That these two commands are mucho importante. The following commands are important for DNS trouble. Yeah, sure. These are the commands, and they are ipconfig flush DNS and ipconfig register DNS. So these are the commands that are important too for troubleshooting, DNS troubleshooting. Okay, so this is just for knowledge, and when you get access, or since you already have an access, so you will be able to troubleshoot. At least you should have a knowledge of that. DNS troubleshooting can be done with that too. Now we go back to our objective number three. So one, Active Directory is installed. Second, DNS is installed and properly configured for NS lookup when we did. Now the third one is DHCP. So first one is offering us authentication, authorization, accounting. Second one is offering us name resolution. And there are in DNS there are two zones, which are
Forward lookup, reverse lookup.
yes, forward lookup zone and reverse lookup zone. Two zones are there. So tomorrow I'll be asking everything from Asif and Adnan and Sanai. Okay, then why should I leave you guys out as well? I'm gonna ask you.
Ask him.
Yeah, we were actually.
I'm new.
Hey, but you were listening intently, so you're at it. You're part of the gang now. So DHCP IP management. That's the third one. IP management. So is that true or is it false that we are using DHCP throughout the day? Wherever we go, we are just using DHCP. Whichever restaurant we enter, whichever coffee shop we enter, and when we enter home, we come here, we are using DHCP. True or false?
Sorry, your question.
Oh, so you have another question? You can just ask
No,
us. Yeah.
After
Okay.
you ask your question.
Yeah. So are we using DHCP all the time or not?
Answer is yes.
Answer yes. You sure?
Yes.
As well, except the servers. Servers are static IP.
Yeah, but
We
we.
don't want them to change.
I
But
go somewhere here, there.
workstations, they usually
Yeah.
use
Yeah.
unless you manually.
No. So I take my cell phone with me all the time, and you take your cell phones all the time. And aren't you using throughout the day, every day, a DHCP anywhere you go?
Yes.
Yes. Because when you get a IP, when you get internet connection from Wi-Fi, so a DHCP in Wi-Fi is giving you the IP. So DHCP is, anyone can tell me in own words what DHCP does?
Dynamic host configuration port. Assigns IP automatic.
So it acquires IP address from the DHCP server plus DNS server information, a gateway,
Okay.
subnet mask.
It's got two components, right? The client and the server. One's assigned, like you broadcast IP addresses, and the client grabs the IP address.
Exactly. So assigns IP to new machines which request IP, and it assigns IP for a lease duration, for a lease time, and we tell what lease time should be there, and there are some recommendations there, and then it grabs DNS and domain information, DNS domain gateway information as well, to give to all client machines. So when it's giving IP, why don't we give more network information to the DHCP as well? So the main thing here is that suppose you have 1,000 machines, and your boss says that, hey, those machines need to be given IP address. So obviously then you can go to DHCP server and let DHCP distribute IP addresses. So let's install that and configure it. Woohoo! Yay! Okay. So let's go ahead, or yay. Now server 1 here, we can minimize this. In fact, command prompt, we don't need it. I'm just going to close the command prompt. Close the DNS and command prompt both. Close the DNS window and command prompt both. So close the DNS window and command prompt both. Now here you can see a dashboard. I hope everyone's on server 1. And once you're on server 1, you can go to the dashboard. Let's install DHCP role. So server 1, dashboard, and then click add roles and features like this. Add roles and features. Once you click the add roles and features, So I'll make it a big screen now. And before you begin appears in front of you, and then click next. Once we click next here, then you see role based or feature based installation. Everyone on this page? Okay, so see this? Oh yeah. So do you have server manager in front of you? And if not, you can see Asif down here, that Windows icon, left click it, and all the options will come here, and then go up to server manager if server manager is not open in front of you. If it is open, it will show like this. This whole thing is server manager. You got it, right? Adnan, you have server manager there? Okay, very good. So here, dashboard, and do we all see add rules and features? Okay, let's click the add rules and features there, and then click next. And it is role based or feature based installation, so it is okay. Next. And then there is server 1. I hope this is the domain server name is correct. Server name is coming here. Nobody's seeing here server 2. It is server 1 right now. And click next. So now we need to add the role. So we know which one. So it is this one. So select the box against it, against the DHCP server. So once we select the box against DHCP server here, then this pop-up comes in, and these are the features that are required with the correct working of that role DHCP. So these features are required, which is okay. So click add features. Whenever this pops up, just click add features, because we need those features and they think it is important, so it is important. So once DHCP is selected, let's click next. Nothing in the features, click next. Nothing on this page, DHCP server, just an introduction. Click next. And let's click the restart the destination server if required. So if there's a pending restart, it will restart, otherwise it won't restart. So press yes after selecting the restart and click install. I hope everyone did done with that. So once it finishes, do not click the close button. Once it finishes, do not click the close button. Do not. K-N-O-T, not. Oh, okay. So here, do not click the close button. Sometimes the right hand is, then just stop with left hander. It's like that. No, I want to click. So just stop that, right? So sometimes we're just, attracted towards close. Okay, just. Yeah, close. Okay, guys. So if it is finished, do not click the close button. So do you see this link here? Complete DHCP configuration. So let's click this link. Everyone there, right? Or is it still installing? Still installing. So, you're there? What? You close it? Okay, cool. Down there? Right, cool. So, yeah, let's click that. You're done, right? Okay, so complete DHCP configuration. Once you click that, so it says there that it will be creating two security groups. One is DHCP administrators, one is DHCP users. So suppose there's a new junior admin that you hired after interviewing, and he or she is very good in DHCP, DNS, ActiveDirectory, everything. So as soon as you create that administrator's username, you will be adding that person to this DHCP administrators, so he or she could configure the DHCP configurations that we're about to do. And DHCP users means just a read only. You can see every configuration of DHCP, but you cannot change anything. So that's the second group that will be created. Third thing is authorized DHCP server on target computer. Now this is an extra step required there as well, that ActiveDirectory has to authorize DHCP to really start working or to get activated. Sometimes when you go to DHCP and it is not working, you right click and it says that it is not authorized. So you just click the authorize button and then it starts activates and it starts working. So let's click next. Yeah, we understand that it's going to create two security groups and it's going to take permission from ActiveDirectory. Hey, shall I start? And yes, we will authorize. So let's click next. Once you click next, it's saying that, hey, is that your top administrator account? So I hope everyone is seeing exactly this one, right? Exactly this one. Now, why this skip AD authorization is even there? When we want it to work, why? So skip AD authorization will not make it work. Like it will be installed, but it will not work. It will not be activated. It will stay deactivated. So then you have to click the authorize button. So in case, suppose you're installing on Friday night and you configured everything, but on Monday morning you don't want to want it to start distributing IP address right away. So then you can go for skip AD authorization, and once you're there on Monday, you introduce it, you tell boss, hey, this is it, the scope I've given here is this, and then boss says, okay, yeah, this is okay, now this DHCP should work tonight. So then that Monday night, suppose you want to do that, so you click just authorization. So this option is there if you want to control its being activated, or you want to keep it activated, deactivated. So we're not going to change anything here. This is the top account that is requesting authorization, which is okay, and click commit. Once you click commit here, everyone see done, right? Done, everyone. So once we do done, let's click close. Now we click close. So now this close as well. The previous screen, we don't need that previous screen as well. So click close here as well. Now we need to further configure the whole DHCP. So how do we do that? Here. Shut down what? Event tracker. No, that. Yeah. Oh, stop. Wait. So what is event tracker? And where did it come from? And, oh, that. Cancel. Whenever it restarts, suppose it shut down without any reason, or all of a sudden, then it pops up that, hey, what was the reason? But you're on so one and you click close, which is good. All right. So let's go ahead and try to go for, so let's go to tools. On the top right, let's go to tools and open DHCP. Tools and open this DHCP. So in tools, open DHCP. Every tool there? Okay. So once we click the DHCP here, it should really look like these. So I'm just gonna make it bigger. And now it should look like this. So I'm just gonna try to drag it a little to the right side. You can see that the FQDN of your server is showing there, but let's expand that, and IPv4, IPv6 should be showing there. I hope everyone's seeing IPv4, IPv6 as green. Anyone seeing it red or black or blue? No? So everyone is green, right? So if we expand that IPv4 here, you will see these three folders there: server options, policies, and filters. So we need to create a scope. In DNS, it is called zone, where you tell DNS what to do. In DHCP, it is called scope, where you tell DHCP what to do. Right? So you're about to configure DHCP, so you're gonna configure a scope here. So a DNS zone, DHCP scope. Right click on the IPv4 and go for new scope. Right click on IPv4 and go for new scope. So once you click the new scope here, you should see this screen. Welcome to the new scope wizard, and click next. Once you click next here on the new scope, everyone's there? Yeah, right click on the IPv4 and new scope. Do you see that? Cool. And that's there, right? Cool. So next. So scope name, it could be anything. We can just call it company scope. So suppose you're distributing IP addresses to, suppose there are 10 floors and floor 1 and floor 2 computers, so you can just call exactly that this scope will distribute IP addresses for the computers of floor 1, floor 2. So scope floor 1, floor 2, then floor 3, 4, there's another DHCP suppose. So it could be any meaningful name there. So company scope, we're just going for some name there, and click next. Now that's where we need to give IP range. So we can just go for 192.168.200.50 up to 192.168.200.100. So what is the purpose of giving this range? Anyone can tell me? So distribute that to all the client machines. Exactly. Or available for distribution, right? So then there is /24 here, and the subnet mask is 255.255.255.0. This means how many clients can come in this network? /24 and then 255.255.255.0. We have Cisco gurus here. 254 clients we can have here. So so there is 0 and 255 is not used, but 254 clients or client machines can come here /24. If it was /16, then how many clients can come here in this network? If it was instead of 2416, 65,535. If it was /8, how many clients can come here? 1 million. Okay, so 50 up to 100, we actually don't even need that kind of range. We're just giving some range there, right? So 50 up to 100, these will be distributed just like card distribution there. They'll be, the IPs will be distributed. Suppose these are the computers there. So the first computer will get 50, second computer will get 51. Whichever computer starts first, suppose this computer starts first and then the last computer starts second. So whichever requests the IP first will get the IP, right? So it's not like, okay, when the second computer there starts, then the IP will be released, and if the last computer, it will not be released. So whichever request first will get the IP, right? So, okay guys, 50 up to 100, that is put in here. Let's click next. And exclusion, range, and delay. What is the purpose of that? So first of all, exclusion. What is exclusion?
Reserving an IP for the boss.
No. There is reservation separately available in DHCP. Exclusion is separately available in DHCP. What is the difference between reservation and exclusion?
Not available to sign for exclusion.
What is it? Reservation? Oh, exclusion. Exclusion is not available to be assigned or distributed to anyone. Exclusion is not available for anyone to be distributed. So saved for rainy days. Saved for when your actual range runs out. You can use this exclusion range at that time. What is reservation?
You're allocating, you're reserving those
For a
for any special needs, whatever.
So this means that IP was first assigned.
Yeah.
So it's not in exclusion range anyway. It was assigned, but you don't want it to be taken back. It should just stay there permanently assigned to that computer until you manually remove the reservation. Right? So exclusion range could be any range. Can you give me 5 IPs from one range to another? Can you give me what IPs would you want to exclude? It could be any range, any 5 IPs out of what you already know. So can you give me any 5 IPs from here to here? Let's exclude.
Last 5.
From where to where?
45 to, let's say,
45 to 50. Okay, anyone else?
50 to
50 to 54. Anyone else?
Oh, sorry.
No, what?
No, I got it, because the range we created was the 50 to 100.
Okay,
At
you
least I caught my own mistake.
thought you were falling into the trap, but yeah, you were not falling into the trap. So, but what's the range? Yeah, you already decided. So 50 up, yeah, so 5, any 5. Which range should be excluded? 95 to 99? Okay. Which range?
What happens if you exclude all?
Then why are we even going through the effort of creating a DHCP?
Just to mess with Windows.
Yeah, I know there was a DHCP here. Why it's not distributing? So, exclusion range, any 5? Okay. Okay. So, 299. Okay, 97. Yeah. 98. Yeah.
So it could be a range or it could be individually, right? Like,
Yeah, it could be individual as well.
okay, perfect.
So what range? One guy hasn't decided the range.
Well, I'm okay with the way you're asking, I'm just thinking, that's all.
Yeah, because it's a trap.
He's confusing.
It's an open.
Because I tell any range from 50 to 100, but the way you're asking,
Yeah, that's what I'm
I'm
asking.
just thinking,
Okay.
maybe something else is coming to do it.
What? So time out. Yeah. What is the 5 range?
95 spread.
99, 99.
Yeah.
Okay, you're going for that. You're sure.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm just creating more confusion now. because I need your confidence. No, it has to be.
Or
So
it shouldn't be those IP addresses we have given already for.
that's the concept, that the exclusion range has to be from within the IP that we defined in the previous page.
No, what I'm saying is like, is it? Yeah, okay.
If I go back 50 up to 100, you can only define exclusion range from within 50 up to 100, not outside. So I thought I had caught one guy, and then I will clarify the concept. But yeah, you already are.
But then, what's the point of
Exclusion
ordinarily to assign
Mhm.
those IP range?
Yeah.
I mean, we had to pick IP range
Yeah.
that's usable. Then why do you have to assign like usable IP address, then excluding some of that?
Excluding is for rainy days. So suppose you got $20 million there. You're excluding some. Hey, I'm not gonna spend anything from there. Whenever I ran out of this money, I have something reserved somewhere that I will never ever touch again. So this is normally for when you get run out of range.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this is nothing to do with the IP address we have given. So 192, 168, 200, 1.
Yes.
That's nothing to do with
Nothing to do with that.
Then
So
that should be given somewhere between 90.
yeah, it could be any one of those. Exactly. Starting range, middle range, ending range, anyone. So, but that's a very good point as well. That from 192, 168, 200, 1 up to 49, we have set aside for critical resources. What are critical resources? Servers, switches, routers, printers. Some administrators just let IP be given from DHCP to printers, and then reserve them. So this is also okay. Whenever DHCP goes down, there can be a problem there. So the thing is that normally some administrators go for just okay, don't let DHCP give IP to any critical resource. It's just for client machines, which is Windows XP 7, 8, 10. Just for users, end users. Don't let it. So printers, so many people are connected and printing, so it's critical resource, right? So that's why we do not even introduce those IPs within the DHCP. But some administrators, they give the full range from 1 up to 254 here. Then they exclude the critical range in the next screen. Some administrators do that too. Up to you what you do. Normally, I never used to give any IP in the DHCP that is supposed to be for the critical assets. I would just go for end users, only client machines. Okay, give it to DHCP. They will handle end users only. So it's up to you how you want to go with that. So when we go next here, let's just go for some exclusion range. We don't actually need that, but just to clarify this concept and one more concept I want to clarify. So 192.168, 200.51 and up to 192.168, 200.56. So I'm just excluding 5 IP addresses. Click the add button here. We don't need that. We're just clarifying that this is how we use it.
No, 5, 5. It's 5.
51.
51, 52,
Yeah.
53, 54, 55,
5.
56,
So it's not starting from 0, right?
51, 55.
No.
51 plus 4 is
Yes,
55.
50, it should be 55.
51
Well,
counts.
he's right. It's 6.
So he's
because
right,
You
he's
count from
1 to 6.
it's
1 to
0
6, exactly. 1 is actually added there. It's not 0. So it is 6 IPs. Exactly, you're right. So, okay guys, and then we go for subnet delay. But remember, what is your range? How many we excluded? Just remember that. And good luck. Oh, okay. So, because another question coming your way now. So what is subnet delay here? Subnet delay in milliseconds just means that you've created that subnet here. Suppose you create a second, third, fourth, fifth subnet here, 5, 6 subnets here. So you want that the machines who are requesting the IP should get the IP from this subnet first. Whenever the subnet run out, then go for the second subnet, or you put a delay of suppose 10 millisecond here. So 10 millisecond is enough to, as soon as the client hits that DHCP server, it's not responding, it's going to go to the next one right away. So 10 millisecond is like, when I say 10, I think milliseconds are gone already before I even say the word 10. So, or while I'm saying that. So it's very less time, but it's good enough for the machine to actually not stay there and go to the next DHCP. So if you put 10 here, what does that mean? This subnet will not be first giving the IP. At once it will be going to whoever's number is lesser than that. In IT, lower the number, higher the priority. in IT. So if 9 is there given to one subnet and 10 is given to the second subnet, which one has the priority? 9. Lower the number, higher the priority, right? Remember that. This will come in many other application configurations. You will see that, and especially in load balancing, you will see that. So the only thing is, if you want this subnet to not distribute the IP, you will put here some delay, and other subnet that you create there will give that IP for any specific reason that you would want to go for. But it can be anything. Point. Well, if it supports that 1.1. Okay. 0.1. Point is not supported here. I try to put the point. It's not supported. So it's not. Yeah, it's already milliseconds. It's like it's already. I cannot even press harder. And the millisecond. Yeah.
1,000th of a second.
Yeah. So, but we understand the purpose. Delay of a subnet. You don't want this subnet to respond first, right? So, how many milliseconds are in 1 second?
10 millimeter. Yeah, millimeter.
No. You didn't Google it. This means. No. How many milliseconds are in a second? 1,000. 1,000 milliseconds in a second. Oh, actually, one student Googled it, so that's how I know.
Oh,
so I didn't bother Googling
it's
it.
not 10?
What's 10?
10 millisecond?
No, what's 1/10 of a second?
1/10 of a second is.
In Latin, mil means
That's
thousand.
a second. Like, what would it be?
Oh yeah. Then yeah. Any maths expert here?
I thought he was right. But he's right. Mil is 1,000.
No, that's in meters measurement. I mean, not seconds.
So guys, just Google it. How many milliseconds are there in a second, and we'll resolve this very quickly. Yeah. And click next. It's 1,000, right?
Yeah,
By
I was
now
right
we
in
should
the
be-
beginning, but I kind of doubt it because
Uh-huh.
it doesn't make sense. It,
You're questioning the mathematicians of the planet
I
Earth.
know, you can't question the facts.
Uh-huh.
Not even the facts.
Yeah. It's 1,000, right?
Yeah, 1,000.
Okay. So 10 is like, before you say the word 10, it's gone. Okay guys, let's click next, but we understand this, right? So then least duration. What is the purpose of least duration? The amount of time the IP will be given to a client. And when 50% of this lease is done, it checks the client. But when 100% of the lease is done, it finally checks the client. If the client is alive, renew the lease for next number of days. If client is shut down, then
No, I was looking at the milliseconds.
Oh,
After
we're
that
still
it
stuck
says
there.
like
Okay.
Nanosecond,
Yeah.
picosecond.
Okay, nanosecond will be million.
Like
I think.
But-
one
10 to the power
nanosecond
9, I
is
guess.
like
But think
Right.
about it, like millimeter.
Yeah, that's
10
measurement.
millimeter.
Who
is
started that?
Oh, yeah.
Tell me who started that. So
Actually,
he started that.
but okay, I'm wrong. I'll tell you why. In millimeter, it still is 1,000 because in a centimeter there's 10 millimeters.
Okay, so it's
right?
meters. It's a distance. We're talking about time.
1
Right.
meter,
Time
which
is
is
different.
Time is
100
different.
centimeters.
Distance is different.
Same concept though.
my
Same
cell-
concept.
Oh yeah, it's 1,000 meter is 1 kilometer, right?
1 millimeter. In 1 meter is 1,000 millimeter.
Yeah.
Because 100 centimeter, right, is 1 meter.
Okay.
And 10 millimeter is 1 centimeter. So it's
One-
correct.
All right.
So,
So-
1 million microsecond is 1 second.
Let's count.
So,
it.
so we spent 30 million microseconds right now on this millisecond discussion. So let's come back to our
Least duration.
least duration, and let's not go really in depth with least duration as well. So, okay, so here, but we understand least duration, and that is the amount of time given to amount of time the IP is given to a machine. So when the 100% of the lease duration is done, it checks if the machine is alive. If the machine is on, it renews the lease. If the machine is down, it takes back the IP. It takes back the IP. So do we understand what we're talking about?
So next time the system comes up, he's going to get a new IP.
New IP. Then if the system was down at that time during the lease renewal day, so it will, if it is down, it loses the IP. And anyone else gets. Suppose it's down for forever, or it's not there at all, or suppose it was down, the DHCP doesn't know that. You're there, I'll renew it. You're not there, I'll take it back. Right? That's how it preserves the IP. It saves the IP numbers there. So if I just put there 9999, is that a good idea or a bad idea? Why?
It doesn't matter because even if it's shut down,
On any circumstances, if you put 9999, why is it a very bad idea? Let me put it that way.
Over 300 days. Over.
It will be there for so long that the machine may have been thrown by that time. When it checks on the 50% of the time, which is 999, and then when it checks 100% of the time to take the IP back, that would be like, how many years are these?
3 years.
3 years. So by that time we would have thrown the machine.
but when the workstation's down, I mean, it releases the IP line, so it's...
No, but the DHCP has the workstation's MAC address there,
Oh, that's
and the IP is just attached with that and will not be released to be given to any other from the DHCP side. Maybe workstation is thrown out,
Okay.
or
Unless you do IP config release renew or something, right?
if the workstation is not there, then
No, if the the workstation itself, if you apply IP config renew release,
yeah.
then it will change the IP, right?
Well, release renew also does not change it from
Okay,
DHCP.
change from the-
It will always give, if the workstation is still there, release renew will give it
Give
back
the
the
same
IP.
IP. Oh, okay.
DHCP remembers the MAC address
MAC based
of the
on MAC
workstation. If the workstation is again found there with the same MAC address, it will give the same IP there. So why is it bad idea? Obviously, you will run out of IPs very fast. 999. You will keep on giving IP, but you're not taking back from anyone because the time limit is so long. You're not taking back anything. So you'll run out of IPs. So if I just go for 0 here, and if I go for 4 here, 4 hours now, is that a good idea or bad idea? Or when do you use that?
Friends.
For friends, yeah, just come and use it and go. So when do you use it? Which organizations do you use that? Visitors, guests, guest networks, exactly. So visitors and guest networks. So that's where you come, and especially in coffee shops and restaurants, you're here for 3 or 4 hours only. So, okay. Huh?
Halfway through, it will do the check-in.
Exactly.
So 2 hours.
2 hours. That was exactly my next point. That if you have a 2,000 guests there, 2,000 actually desktops, and they are given to permanently to employees there. They are working daily, but some new administrator just put 4 hours there. So what's wrong with that?
It's fun.
Like it's fun, but the IP will be renewed every 4 hours. So what's wrong with that? Is there something wrong with that?
Yeah, it
What's wrong?
disrupts the connection.
How? It does not disrupt. It renews automatically.
Yeah.
What's wrong with that?
Imagine you're working on a spreadsheet.
It's not gonna disconnect anything. So when it renews, it's automatic. You're busy doing something, it does not disrupt at all. It renews right away. Even if you put it 1 hour and you're working really busy, opening, closing up, so you have 10 applications open, they're very critical, and it's renewing every hour. It does not disrupt anything. Still, there is something wrong with that. What is that?
Do you know who is on which computer?
No. Who is on which computer has nothing to do with DHCP. It just checks that this computer MAC address, I given this IP. It's still there. Okay, check. It's still there. Renew. What is wrong with this situation? Yes.
DNS will be, yeah.
Yes. Congestion. You are creating so much traffic now.
It's a good idea for you. I thought it's a good
For
idea
him?
for his neighbor.
For his neighbor. Okay.
I mean,
Yeah.
one question. No, when
Mhm.
UDP, like let's say voice and video, renewal disconnects and disrupts the connection.
For audio and video, yes, but for this, no. Even the DHCP renewal does not. If it takes back, it is taken back then permanently. But if it is renewed, it does not take it back and give.
But you see,
It does not disrupt this connection.
You have a UDP port open, and you are on a video conference, right? So try it. We can actually do it like when you actually when the IP changes.
How?
For that video conference, just let's say
No,
disruption.
IP changes. There's a connectivity. So source A was connected to destination B with that IP. IP changed. Yes. You have to know the new IP now. Hey, where did your IP go? But IP renew, nothing happens. It just stays there. It doesn't take it back and give the same IP again. It doesn't change. Yes, you have to know until the new IP is given to you, right? So change is different. Renew is different. Renew is same IP, just stays there. Oh, you're there. Okay, let me not touch anything here. You just I renewed it for you.
So other than congestion,
Yeah, that's it. 4 hours for a big network is like a death for that network. You are creating so much traffic that all the traffic will be so slow and packets will be dropped. Nobody can do anything over the network. They cannot send any big files there. Already DHCP is creating huge traffic there.
So what's an ideal?
For 2000 machines, 30 days. For 4000, 10,000 machines, 30 to 40 days. Every like 20 days, just check half time, and then after a 40th day or maximum 50 day for a big network. But keep the traffic lower.
Total lease time?
Yeah, total lease time 40 days here for 2000 to 10,000 machines. So that's good enough.
This time actually checks compares with the uptime of a workstation, right? Uptime. When it's powered down, it doesn't calculate towards the hours duration.
Well,
Let's
no.
say my workstation is down today. I didn't use it, and I specified only 4 hours.
Whether it is off or on,
Yeah.
once you have assigned,
Yes,
it counts on the
from
server
there,
side.
So it
Yeah.
doesn't look for
Yeah, today I got it.
workstations
Yeah,
uptime now.
exactly.
Okay.
Today I got it. Workstation is down. Stay
Maybe
down.
that-
I'm counting.
Okay.
Counting.
So counts for that another thing.
Mhm.
Thanks.
just comparison.
Sure.
Like this DHCP record, right? If you, let's say, would you be able to open it, let's say, with PowerShell, like to look at
Yeah,
say,
yeah.
their record, see
There's so many PowerShell commanders for
the
that.
counter, let's say it's on, just kind of like to add like you say to Linux, right? So it's like a day counter versus uptime, like
Oh, yeah.
it's a command, right? Like uptime, hourly counter
Yeah.
on
Oh yeah.
on script. So PowerShell has the same,
Oh yes. Exactly.
and they're getting huge on this PowerShell thing.
Oh yes. You have to really go in depth with PowerShell.
Finally, on Windows.
Really in
Going
depth.
back to scripting.
And Azure is really in the market, and they really need PowerShell guys there.
Option, eh?
Yeah. But first we have to understand concept. That's why I stick to GUI. One other teacher came here. He started with the beginners, the PowerShell. Everything was PowerShell. So beginners remained beginners at the end of the course, because everything was being done in PowerShell. He was saying, I'm giving you advanced information. Obviously, you cannot give beginners advanced information. You have to go easy and then go advanced. Exactly. So, but definitely we have to work on PowerShell. So guys, here, 4 hours is a bad idea, but if we go for, there's that 30 days here, and then there's 0 here. So 30, 0, 0. So this means it's enough traffic. So also it depends on, suppose you have 2000 machines in network, but machines, really it's rare that some machine is there for repair, right? It just submitted for repair there. So if the machines are not moving at all, you can even increase the days. But some networks, the machines are coming, 5 or 6 machines, maybe it's much larger network, and 10 or 15 machines are always there for repair and reinstalled operating system, and they get a new IP. So in that case, you can give the lesser days there. When there's too much repair or too much change of machine, or laptops are coming and going, there's not too many sales guys there, right? Suppose they take the laptop out, they're coming back after 8 days or 30 days, and always they're getting a new IP. So when there's a lot of movement of machines, then try to give lesser days. When the machines are just there, just like these, and employees are coming every day and working and going, machines seldom go bad. So then give longer time, so the traffic is lesser, even lesser. They're not changing, so give more time. They're changing a lot, take IP back more quicker.
Is there any option like to just kind of add all the MAC records to the DHCP server and then just reject anything that's not an ILS?
Yes, that is for the next upcoming labs, and that is WDS, where we deploy the image over the empty machine, over the network to an empty machine. So then you can go for which empty machine you want to deploy the image. Whoever's MAC address is there, you can deploy that. But in DHCP, then you have to turn off DHCP, or you have to, that is MAC filtering. That is called what you're saying, MAC filtering. Only these MAC addresses there give the IP to only those. So that will be secure, and that should be done in the Wi-Fi. In our DSL routers, it should be done.
No, I mean in DHCP server, because server assigns the IP.
Yeah, in military institute maybe, wherever there's more security required, there you should. Right. So what is a MAC address?
Network address. So network address. The address assigned to the network card, which is unique.
Which is unique, and it is like stamped. So network card has a permanent address that never changes. Network card. So that is called MAC. MAC. Media Access Control. MAC or MAC address.
It's like your ESN on the phone.
Yeah. So it's like alphanumeric long number. Yeah, it's printed or it's embossed into the network card. Once given to the network card, it never changes, right? So that's what we're calling MAC address all the time. Any command to know the MAC address of this server 1? ARP. Okay. Yes, that also gives. So guys, keep this window here. We're talking about MAC a lot. So what is MAC address? So can you open command prompt again? On server 1, I went right click here, down here, and I'm going for command prompt, right? So once you go to command prompt, so first of all, you said ARP.
Yeah.
Just type ARP and then press enter.
-A, actually, sorry.
Okay, ARP-A, and that gives you MAC addresses of all the IPs that are attached there. But this is ARP minus A. ARP space minus A. But if you go for ipconfig/all, it also gives you the, so when we say MAC address, this is considered physical address. It is considered physical address. When we say MAC address, it is considered physical address. So if your 200.2 IP is there that you're seeing with when you type the command ARP minus A, this is the command, right? So we typed it, right? Okay, so you see, if you see the correct IP there, this is the MAC address or physical address of that. So this has been assigned to this network card. So that's the MAC address. Or if you go for ipconfig/all, ipconfig/all, and once you go for ipconfig/all, so there's that MAC address, physical address showing here as well. If wherever it's physical address written, that is the MAC address of your network card that is embossed or permanently given to your network card. So MAC address, we understand that because we were seeing that a lot, MAC. So maybe some of us may be wondering there. Yeah. ipconfig/all, Azim?
Yeah, even McDonald's uses MAC.
Yeah, it's lunchtime as well, and McDonald's. Very nice combination.
So the exam is going to be changing.
What is a Big Mac?
Big Mac. Oh wow, that should be a good term here as well. So Asif, did you put that? Okay. Adnan, you good? ipconfig/all. And then go down and check if physical address is written somewhere. Done?
I used to use net command on
Net, net, yeah.
Net.
It's
Send messages, message.
Net send. Yeah.
MS-DOS.
That used to pop up like, whoa, what happened? Get out of that computer! Get off that computer! Net send would just pop up in front of you.
I don't see the.
Yeah, if you go for ipconfig/all, then this is the MAC address here, right? You see that, right? Okay, so guys, Adnan, you're good. So let's go ahead and I'm gonna minimize that. And we were talking about any questions? Let me know. So least duration here, we get that every client, Windows 7, Windows 8, Windows 10, when they start, they will get an IP here, right? Then that IP will be given to them for whatever days you want to put here, whatever hours you want to put here. So if we have put in here some days here, we don't need 30 days, we're just putting it for the reasons we discussed. So let's click next. Once you click next here, so it says that configure DHCP options. This means that you want to configure advanced options. Since suppose there were 1,000 machines here, and the IP will be given to every machine from DHCP. So why don't DHCP also tell those machines who is our DNS server? What is the IP for DNS server? What is the name of our domain? And what is our gateway? So why don't we also use DHCP to give other critical information to those machines through DHCP automatically as well. So we're gonna tell DHCP, hey, our gateway is this, our DNS is this, our domain is this. Can you tell this information to all the machines as well when you're distributing them IP addresses, right? So let's keep it selected as yes, I want to configure, and click next. So first it's asking what is a gateway. So we're going to tell DHCP that our fake gateway right now, we don't need it, but we're just having it because every company has some kind of gateway. So just type here that 201 and click add. Once you click add here, so I hope everyone has done that. So click the add button and then click next. And then it already correctly discovered our DNS and our domain name. So which is okay, it's gonna tell that these two things to all the clients. Suppose we had a lot of clients. Then, so nothing to do here. Suppose we had a second DNS server, it would have discovered that too. If not, we can put the server name of the DNS and then it will get the IP and we will click add after we click the resolve button. Suppose we had DNS there, then we would have placed here server 2 and then the IP of that. Alright guys, so let's click next here. We don't have to do anything here because it's already discovered. So then there is WINS here, Windows Internet Naming Services. That used to be for old Windows, purely Windows networks. They used to use this name resolution protocol, WINS. That is purely for Windows environment, right? And right now it's obsolete. It's like Microsoft is saying, hey, don't go for that. No questions for WINS will come here in the exam as well. Microsoft recommends to go for DNS for name resolution because the whole planet is using DNS. WINS is for purely Windows environment, but you won't see nowadays purely Windows environment. You will see Linux plus Windows in majority of the companies. So that's why we're not going to configure WINS and click next. And then activate the scope. Let's go. Okay, so let's click next and finito. Once you click finito, we actually need to know if it is really working or not. So, but first of all, do you see it blue here on the left side or green? If it is blue, then select the server name and refresh couple of just a few million times. So once you refresh, they go green, right? So once they are green, we need to actually check if the DHCP even works or not. So is it green for everyone when you refresh? So select the server 1, select the server 1, left click, then refresh. Okay, good. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go to server 2. Temporarily, we're going to change the static IP to dynamic IP. In server 2, we're going to go to the network card. We're going to remove the static IP and configure it to request IP dynamically. We're going to do that on server 2 just to check if DHCP is working. Can you tell me quickly what first IP server 2 should get right now?
52.
No, what one IP it will get? What one IP it will get? Quickly.
What is it? 168?
You're saying 7?
200.51.
51?
We filtered 51 to 52.
Oh.
2? 200.2?
Yeah.
No, we're going to remove the 2 IP now. And we're going to put it on dynamic. As soon as you put on dynamic setting, it will get an IP from DHCP. So what IP from DHCP it should get? So you're saying 57. Okay, I heard that. Huh?
No, 2. I would say
50, above 50, right?
Okay,
50? 51? See, I'm still confusing you. 51? Okay, so which IP should it get?
Right.
From 50 to 100, right? In that range. So we allocated
DHCP.
57? Okay. You're saying?
anything from other than the
No,
anything
any one IP.
Huh?
Just give me any one IP.
50. Yeah, 9.
59? Okay.
50.
Why?
Because I checked it.
But why is this still the question? So first of all, let's go there and do that because
Didn't you feel? Oh, 51. 50 was available. Oh, what is?
that was the trick there. So guys, here let's go log in from, even if you log in from local administrator, it's okay. On server 2, are you on local administrator?
Yeah, I'm
Yeah, this administrator is written there, right? So small ABC capital MC shift 1 2 3. Log into that.
But mine is already open.
Okay, that's okay. So if it's open, just go to the static IP area and yeah, sure. So here, just if you're in server 2, are we all in server 2? Go to local server. Go to local server and go to Ethernet 0. And just go to the static IP area, right? So double click Ethernet 0, go to IPv4, Ethernet 0, properties, right? And double click v4. Once you double click v4, do you see this IP here? So if you want it to, so everyone on this screen, right? Asif? See this? Yeah, double click that. So if you're on this screen, if you want this server to get IP from DHCP, you have to select obtain an IP address automatically. So every client machine normally is configured with that setting. And obtain DNS server automatically as well. Both. You have to put them both on. Obtain an IP address automatically and obtain DNS server automatically. So press OK here. Now see this. Press OK here as well. And you should be on details here. This one. You close everything?
Yeah, I'm on details, yeah.
Details. So Adhan on details. Once you click details, what IP you see here? In details, what IP you see? IPv4 address. 50. Okay. 50.
Subnet mask is 50.
Yeah. So Adnan, you got 50 as well? IPv4. Okay, good. So why 50? Why not 57?
Well, because
With a range included. 50,
So
50.
it distributes sequentially the IP. That's why I started from 51.
started at 51,
Yeah.
but reserved 50.
Yeah. So it has to give sequentially. So that's why 50 has to be given, then 57 can come after that, right? So the second concept is DHCP gives away IP address sequentially. If 50 is given, then 51 will be given or 57 will be given. If 50 is not given, it cannot jump to other IPs, right?
Is that why you reserved 51 to do?
Yeah. And then I said, remember the range.
So what were the two things, the range and what that you need to remember when you do the?
Yeah, exclusion in exclusion range when we were giving, so it should be from within the range that we actually give
So
in the
there were
previous.
two things to
Yeah.
the range and what was the other?
Yeah, that was the what I just told. So first is that exclusion range has to be given. The first thing was exclusion range has to be given from the actual DHCP range, not outside of DHCP range, from 50 up to 100
Within the and then
within.
the
And this is then it gives IP sequentially. That's the second concept.
Okay. How come there was no page for the reservation?
Oh, reservation now comes when it is configured. Now
There's no
reservation.
page for exclusion.
Yeah, there is no reservation page. During the wizard, it does not come. Now, after that, it is there.
So my lease expiration December 30.
Yeah. So, whatever lease time you gave there is the lease time expiration here showing there right now. December 13 for me as well. So, we all gave 30. So, guys, we checked it. DHCP is working fine. Let's put our static IP back. Remember what was the static IP? 200.2. So, let me just put that static IP back. We just wanted to temporarily check the DHCP. We're not going to put it on DHCP permanently, right? So go back to IP version 4 again. I hope you're on this screen again. So we were in details, right? So close the details, then go to properties again, and then go to, so details screen was like this, right? Then close, then go to properties, then double click IP version 4. Now you should be on the same screen and we need to put that same IP that we removed. So it is use the following IP and the IP was 192.168.200.2 tab 192.168.200.1 tab 192.168.200.1.
We put the gateway as well, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And
Is there like a command like to see the DHCP table? What's taken? What's available?
there are many commands for that. PowerShell and command prompt both have that.
Oh, Windows, right?
Yeah.
What's the command?
Oh, actually, I have to look up that myself.
Okay. Sorry.
I have a very long list of commands written, but normally I'm lazy. I just go for Google and just check it into 1 minute and just put it there. So otherwise, there's a document that has very big list of commands there. Okay, so
Let's see. Oh, okay.
so is this IP has been put in there?
Yeah.
Okay, put in. So put in. Press OK here and OK and close, and we're good. Good. So DHCP is working fine, but we need to explore some more of DHCP here. So we talked about reservation and exclusion, but before that, are we back on server 1? So I hope everyone is back on server 1. Once you're back on server 1, you can see that there's IPv4, there's IPv6, and we have expanded that IPv4. You can see server options here. Then do you see the scope here? Everyone sees the scope? This is the scope that we created in server 1, right? I hope everyone's seeing that. Under the scope, so expand the scope now, like this. Once you expand the scope, you can see address pool, address lease, reservations, scope options, policies. So if you click the address pool, what do you see there? So address pool, when you select under the scope here, I hope everyone's there. So on the right, when you select the address pool on the right side, you first of all you see the actual range 50 up to 100, but then you see the exclusion range 51 up to 56, the exclusion range. So address pool just shows you the actual range and the exclusion range. So then address lease, what does it show you? What is it supposed to show? Address lease, what? So if server 2 had that IP for a bit longer time, it would have shown here, right? So suppose you it has distributed IP addresses to 50 clients, 50 machines here. If those machines had IP addresses here, then it would have shown here in the client in the address lease. So how many machines have been leased the IP address from this DHCP? So all the client names start coming here. Machine 1, machine 2, machine 3, machine 4 up to machine 50. So if these machines had taken the IP addresses, then it would have shown here. Then comes the reservation. So reservation is that you know, suppose the DHCP has received an IP. Suppose your boss has a laptop, and the laptop grabs an IP there, and the boss is on travel. He just keeps on moving from here to there. When he comes back, always IP is gone. Obviously, he has gone more than 30 days. So then the boss says, hey, I want my permanent IP because I'm connected to some other applications and checking the whole company, monitoring the whole company. So then the boss says, I want to reserve my IP. So how would you reserve somebody's IP? So let's go to reservation here and right click on the reservation and click new reservation. I hope everyone's there. So let's go to reservation just to explore what are the options there. What do we have to put? Suppose you got the ticket. Hey, can you just reserve that boss's laptop IP? So once you click the new reservation here, so this screen comes, and suppose the IP of that new laptop is 100, suppose. So then reservation name, boss laptop, boss laptop. Then MAC address. This is where you have to get that MAC address, which is you go to the boss PC or laptop, and there's that ARP-A or ipconfig/all, right? So you can get IP address, and there is a get MAC command as well, and then remotely you can get an IP by get MAC space computer/computer. It will grab the IP MAC address remotely as well.
I think if we had like in address leases, if we had the list, we could actually just add it to reservation.
Exactly. In the address lease also, it keeps the physical address there. So we understand, first of all, it is MAC address that you had to put there, and you, if there was a laptop, you would have placed that, copy that MAC address from there and place it here. So we understand that how to give a lease. Get a MAC address, get the IP, and that's it. Press OK. Now this IP will never be taken back. Never. So let's close here. But what you were saying, yes, if you go for address lease here, there is no lease showing here, but normally it shows a unique ID. This unique ID is the MAC address of any client machine that is there. So in tomorrow's class, we're going to install a Windows 10 as well. Then that Windows 10 has to get an IP from DHCP. So then we're going to actually again come back and check here for that. So right now what we have done till now is that we have gone for we have checked that Active Directory portions there. What is OU, what is group, how do you add a group to a group, and what types of groups are there. And then we went for DNS. We did NS lookup, and we tried to configure the reverse lookup zone as well. And then we went for DHCP. We checked and discussed all the options of DHCP. And otherwise, these labs were just 5-minute labs. DNS, DHCP, just configure and go ahead. But discussion is the main thing we are here for. Just to understand is the main thing that we're here for. But then you are here to understand and then repeat at home as well. This is where this means that now you will be seriously following up, and you will be able to reproduce all this in the interview. But if you repeat that, so it's just for your own good. If you don't repeat that, it doesn't make any difference to me, right? But it is your loss, which is not good, right? So that's why I'm going to follow up with you. This is my job to follow up with you, right? That you have to repeat it, otherwise it's your loss. Those who have repeated, some of them are consultants now, and they had some other job before starting the courses. The hard work is the only difference between them who are successful now and you. The only difference is hard work, nothing else. You cannot say, oh, they had this, they had that, they were free time. So they have done it with impossible schedules. Impossible. That they have no time, and they took out time and repeated all the labs and took out. So listen to all the concepts, repeat the labs, take out the summary, and make it happen, right? So you have to do it, repeat it once, twice, thrice. And if you make your habit now to work hard, there are 6 or 7 courses. After that, yes, you have very good chances of landing a better job sooner with, plan for eyes on the prize, 35, 45 per hour, right? So, but there is no shortcut. You have to really work hard for that, right? So repeat this lab at home. Any resources you need, all the trial versions are here, but create exact same environment at home, but understand and go ahead. Not click, done. Understand everything, make notes, summarize everything in the lecture, and then go ahead. So your notes will be telling you how serious you are. Your notes will be showing there that you've repeated everything, you've written down everything. Wow, amazing.
By the way, the filter is here for the MAC addresses.
Oh yeah.
Allow or deny.
Allow or deny.
Even in the added list. Because it's very, nowadays, I think the MAC
security
address is not in the network.
Although it's a headache, but definitely if it's a policy, that's very good. Otherwise, adding a MAC address, and suppose you add a wrong MAC address. So, but the thing is, wherever it is, yes, it is more secure than not having that. Definitely, you're right. Okay, guys. So see you tomorrow, and keep playing with that. That's very good, man. You're playing with it. Now I need to create the account, and and
He asked me to create me an account, but he said he will do it today. I don't know.
oh,
The
follow up,
ID.
man.
I'm gonna bug him again today.
Yeah, bug him with the coffee or
Maybe I
something.
can get like notes from you.
Oh yeah,
until
sure.
I'm waiting for him.
Sure. So I just need your Gmail, and I'll
Sure.
send it to you.
Can I just shut down server 2?
Yes, sir. So yeah, we can shut down server 1 and 2.